struck first. And defense fueled the spirit. The savvy Giants scratched out a lead, but the Marlins just needed a window to demonstrate how fun October can be again. The Giants have been down before. The core of this team came back last year in winning the National League title. And San Francisco does not want to relinquish their flag to wild card enthusiasm. They stopped selling tickets to this one hours ago. Over 64,000 fans will cram into Pro Player Stadium in South Florida for Game 4. The suddenly very popular Marlins have energized these folks. They are one victory away from the National League Championship Series and a huge upset of the San Francisco Giants. Welcome to Pro Player Stadium, everybody. A beautiful South Florida afternoon. Great to have you with us. Dave O'Brien along with Tony Gwynn and Rick Sutcliffe. And the fans here have not even fully recovered from the theatrics of game number 3 in that extra inning thriller. They're right back at it today. And by the way, Jason Schmidt, the Giant ace, will not start this one. Pushed back to a Game 5. Tony Gwynn, that is, if there is a Game 5. And for this Giant team, if they lose the series, they're going to look back on what happened yesterday and the previous couple of games, and they're really going to cry about missed opportunities.
Yeah, missed opportunities has really been the name of the first 3 games of this series. I mean, you know, Elgato Alfonso has been the one guy who's delivered. Other than that, if you look at these numbers, 2 for 27 with runners in scoring position. They left 18 guys on base last night. If they want this series to continue, they're going to have to do a much better job starting right now.
Well, Tony and Rick, the Florida Marlins will put the baseball into the hands as they try and close out this series of one of the most refreshing stories in baseball in years. In the D train, Dontrell Willis, he goes today for Florida trying to end the series. He's been a great story for them today, making his first postseason start.
Yeah, but Dave, he's got postseason experience because last year he sat in the upper deck in San Francisco and watched these Giants clinch the National League Championship. Now I think it's only appropriate that he's on the mound with an opportunity to send the Giants home in this postseason. It was Dontrell Willis that got these fans coming out watching baseball earlier this season. It was he, by winning 8 of his first 9 decisions, that got these Florida Marlins back in the pennant race. He'll look to the sky like Fernando Valenzuela. He'll kick his leg like Vida Blue. And if he stays composed and doesn't let this crowd affect him, he can have the same success those guys had.
It's going to be some kind of crowd, 64, maybe 65,000. So we'll find out how young Mr. Willis handles the pressure in his first postseason start. Not up in the stands, but right on the diamond. Now, he's not the only 21-year-old rookie to go today. Jerome Williams makes his start for the Giants, trying to keep Ivan Rodriguez from being a hero as he was in Game 4. Pro Player Stadium in Miami, the Giants and the Marlins coming at you with Game 4, a raucous crowd. Barely a place to park or sit, as the Marlins have taken this community by storm. Maybe the fans got on that Dontrell Willis D train a little bit late, but they're certainly here in force. And Bob Carpenter, they certainly play well in this ballpark when there is something to play for. Hasn't happened a lot in recent years, but here for the Florida Marlins today, the crowd is with them.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. Plenty to play for, and they've won 17 of their last 20 games on this field, including last night. And during the season, they won 53. Only the Braves and the Giants won more. A moment ago, Jack McKeon told me the best thing that can happen to this crowd is strike one from Dontrell Willis. He feeds off them. They feed off him. And Juan Pierre told me they want the sun to come out. They want it to be a sauna down here. They want the Giants to know they're in South Florida. And the Giants, with all that experience, Dave, they know they're in for a big-time atmosphere today.
The Marlins certainly don't want to get on their charter and head on out to Northern California, out to San Francisco tonight. They want to end it now. Starting lineup is presented by Bristol Myers Squibb, and some notable changes as Felipe Alou juggles his lineup for Game 4. In right field, Jose Cruz Jr. is out. Jeffrey Hammond starts there. Alou says he's not swinging the bat well. Cruz has also made 2 huge misplays in the series. Benito Santiago will not catch. Torrealba does. Santiago usually catches Jason Schmidt. And Alou wants those two ready for a day game in San Francisco tomorrow. That is Rick Sutcliffe if they get that far. Dontrelle Willis has other things on his mind. The best breakthrough story in the major leagues this year.
Well, just like Bob Carpenter said, the key to him is throwing first pitch strikes. But talking with pitching coach Wayne Rosenthal before the game, he said they're going to pull the reins back on their big thoroughbred. He can throw 95, 96 miles an hour, but that's not his comfort zone. That's not where he pitches. They want him between 89 and 92 on the outer half or inner half. They don't care if it's up or down, Tony. They just want him moving the ball around.
Yeah, and that's how they've had success in this series is, not sticking to one pattern. They've mixed it up. They've changed speed. Yesterday we saw Redmond go up in the zone. If he can do that same thing, he's going to create problems for these Giant hitters.
That windup, that funky delivery certainly creates problems. His first offering of the day is in there for a strike, and we're underway. Ray Durham, a .285 hitter during the regular season, .231 for the series. He's led off each of the first 3 games with a hit. He takes one high.
Yeah, he's been on base, all 3 games, like you said, and he's worked his way in the scoring position. And
Jeffrey Hammonds to follow him. That one fly to center field. Pierre on the move, backing up with plenty of room to make the catch. A long fly out for out number 1. And now defensively for the Florida Marlins, you saw Pierre, one of the best center fielders in the game. Jeff Conine is in left field with Encarnacion in right. Cabrera back in there at third base. Mike Lowell is out today. Gonzalez and Castillo up the middle with the Gold Glove candidate Derek Lee at first base, and Pudge Rodriguez, the star of Game 4, doing the catching.
We got Cabrera back in there today, and I think Jack wanted to give Mike Lowell a shot at third base, get him some at bats. He went over last night.
Ripped and foul by Hammonds, so it looks like Jeffrey Hammonds is ready for an at-bat today and ready to do some damage. Rich Aurelia to follow him.
I think that was a good move by Jack McKeon, too, Tony.
I do, too.
You had Reeder on the mound, a soft-throwing left-hander yesterday. He's not going to jam that hand, and he's just now, gotten back to being healthy where he can play. Plus, you got a young guy in Cabrera. He's not hit well. He's made a couple of errors, and you want to keep his confidence
Absolutely.
up because this is a guy that they're going to build this team around before long.
That's exactly right.
The pitch is up top on Hammonds. Felipe Alou said about yesterday's game, he said, we lost a game that we should have won.
They should have won the first 3 games.
I agree. I mean,
like Tony said in the open, they're missed opportunities.
And the biggest thing, if there's a lesson to be learned, is take Pudge's at bat there in the 11th inning. First 2 swings, he swung hard. He was trying to do a lot. 2 strikes, he shortened up. He went the other way. And the Giants have had opportunities where not just a base hit drives in, a run, a ground ball to second or short, or a fly ball to the outfield would get runs in, and they just haven't been able to capitalize on it.
Bonds batting out of the 4th spot. Here's the full count pitch, and he walked him. So Hammonds is on, the first Giant base runner today against Willis.
Just a little out of control. He tried to backdoor that breaking ball on 2-2. I think the crowd had something to do with him falling behind and eventually losing Jeffrey Hammonds there. They wanted to strike out. He wanted to give it to him instead of just getting the guy out. He had him behind an account. He could have done a lot of different things that he didn't get done.
Well, Willis has faced Barry Bonds once in a series. That was in a relief role in Game 2 Thursday in San Francisco. He got Bonds to pop up to third base, but also allowed base hits to Santiago and Alfonso. Cut on and missed by Rich Aurelia, who is dying to get the series back to San Francisco for Game 5, obviously, but has another reason to get back there quickly to see his new son, Gavin. His wife, Raquel, went into labor in the 6th inning of game number 2. Little Gavin soon joined brother Chaz as part of the growing Aurelia clan. Swing and a miss.
That Boomer talked yesterday about the hospital bracelet, Dave, that Rich Aurelia kept with him, and he said he had to take it off in about the 3rd inning yesterday, though. He said it was just too hot, it was too sweaty, and it started slipping around.
That happens in South Florida in October and in September and in August and July, heck, in January. A man on in the pitch. From his knees, the throw by Pudge Rodriguez, but not in time to get Hammonds.
Pudge just automatically puts you on your toes when he's behind the plate.
Well, he's the MVP of this series right now. No question about it. Not only he didn't even have to swing the bat. What he's done with this young staff and how in control of the game plan has been terrific.
A tremendous comfort level from their pitching staff. Cut on and miss for strike 3, and Aurelia whiffs. 2 gone. First K in the book for Willis today. First base occupied, and here comes Bonds.
Even though he got the strikeout, right after he gets done with it, he knew he missed his location. He looked right at Pudge and said, I need to get that ball down. And the reason, Tony, he's got to get it down is because of the man at home plate.
Yeah, you're right. And, Barry had a couple of good cuts against him in San Francisco the other day. And it's amazing when you watch the defense, they don't even hold the runner now. They just go ahead. If you want to try to steal here, go ahead. We'll just walk him because he's got that big an impact.
Just a little bit outside, according to Gary Cederstrom, a home plate umpire. And the count 2-0. Another look at that pitch.
That was a strike.
And hit Pudge dead center.
That's Barry Bonds getting the call. Popped up. Cabrera into foul territory, looking for room near the stands, lunges in, and he came away with it. He made the catch. So they deny Bonds again, and a quick start for the D train.
ESPN2's presentation of the 2003 MLB Division Series. Brought to you by American Airlines. Choose the airline that fits your schedule, not the other way around.
Well, Pudge Rodriguez, who drove in 4 runs yesterday, ready to bat out of the 3-hole for the Florida Marlins, who try and win the series today. Juan Pierre leads it off as we give you a look at the Bristol Myers Squibb starting 9 for the Florida Marlins. Castillo, a .314 hitter during the regular season. Derek Lee has excellent power. So does Cabrera. Jeff Conine made another spectacular catch up against the left field fence yesterday. He's making that routine. And Dontrell Willis can swing the bat a little bit. He's homered this year. Up against the right-handed Jerome Williams. And a 21-year-old rookie right-hander from Honolulu, Hawaii. Makes a rather surprising start today. Schmidt unable to go. He told Felipe Alou he can't do it. He can't go on 3 days rest.
Well, they would like to have had Jason Schmidt for this game and then have Ponson, their number 2 guy, to come back tomorrow on Game 5. But that didn't happen. So everything as far as this season is concerned falls into the hands of Jerome Williams. And I tell you what, I have really been impressed with this guy this year, Tony. A lot of composure for a kid.
And he's going to have it today, too, because I think the Marlins are looking at this now because I think they came in expecting to see Schmidt this morning. Now they feel pretty comfortable about putting the bat on the ball.
Pierre, for the series, hitting .286, and so much of their attack revolves around what he does, and particularly early in a game, a first at bat like this. And he jumps on this one deep to right field. But Hammonds has room behind him, and he makes the catch. So Williams gets the first man, and maybe with that, some jitters that he's bound to have at 21 years old, his first postseason start.
I think the biggest thing for him is that he's got to throw first pitch strikes. The Marlins have never seen him before, and that's a huge advantage for a pitcher anytime he takes the mound.
Defensively around him, Grissom in center field. We talked about Hammonds and not Cruz Jr. in right field. And Yorvi Torrealba is the catcher and not Santiago. JT Snow also there at first base and not Galarraga today. So, Tony, what do you make of this as Felipe Alou clearly is changing his lineup for Game 4 in a rather big makeover?
Yeah, well, I just think that he wants to give Benito a day. And, obviously Cruz dropped the ball last night. And the fact of the matter is he was struggling offensively, too, so you want to shake that position up. JT Snow's his best defensive first baseman. He felt like he was going to give Galarraga, much like Mike Lowell on the Florida side, give him some ABs so that in case he needed him on the bench. So.
A little pop-up, twisting out of play by Castillo. Luis Castillo, who started his day on Friday with a wall double over Barry Bonds. He was 3 for 5.
Yeah, and there's no secret to the Marlins offense. When the first 2 guys are getting on base, they make things happen. The second game, it was Pierre. Yesterday, it was Castillo.
Up the middle, and that's going to squeak off second base, and it caroms into right field. Castillo's trying for second, and he'll get there standing up as it was bobbled in the outfield. So he is into second. A ricochet shot and a little luck for the Florida second baseman.
Tony, you called it, and they make things happen in a lot of different ways, don't they?
And I mean, once this ball ricocheted off the bag, Castillo, there was no doubt in his mind he was going to go for two. And you watch him here out of the box. This ball ricochets off the bag. And now Hammonds has got to change directions to come get this ball. And Castillo didn't stop. As soon as he recognized that ball ricocheting out there, if you're going to slide, you might as well go ahead. Don't pull up that way.
He had the landing gear down. He pulled it up in a hurry, so it's a double for Castillo. And here's Pudge Rodriguez, who did all the damage yesterday. And it started with a home run for him. The hero of Game 3 drove in all 4 runs. A 2-run homer in his first at-bat. That was his first career postseason homer.
And he just did it. Just seemed like he did everything for the Marlins yesterday. Not just knocking in the runs, but blocking balls, throwing runners out, being a cheerleader.
Play on, but Castillo saw that coming and dives in. And of course, Pudge Rodriguez won the ball game with his 2-strike, 2-out, 11th inning, 2-run single. He is hitting incredibly well with men in scoring position. During the regular season, he batted .375 in these spots.
Well, Jack McKeon talked about that yesterday and before the game, and look who was the one who delivered for him yesterday. And the impressive thing to me is both of the hits that he got that knocked in the runs it started in an 0-2 count. He was in the hole 0-2, and he worked it to 1-2, and he lines a homer to left field, and then works it to 1-2 in the 11th, and lines a base hit to right.
Rodriguez called yesterday's game one of the best of his career, and you have to love his timing if you're a Marlin fan.
And we talked with Jack McKeon about that. With Jack, was that the best game ever? And he goes, well, because of the postseason. But he went back to a game in which they were down 9-2 to the Boston Red Sox. Late in that game, came back and won it 10-9 on a home run by Mike Lowell. He said, we've been doing it all year. You give us just a small opening, and we're all coming through.
Well, yesterday's 4-3 11-inning victory, Florida's 3rd straight home playoff win over the Giants in the Marlins' final at bat, going back to the 2 games in the division series in 1997, games 1 and 2. All 3 in this ballpark have been decided by 1 run. So San Francisco is getting pretty tired of that result here out of Miami. Outside, Williams being very careful with Pudge here. 1997, the division series, the Marlins won it in a sweep, but those first 2 games were scintillating. A couple of the best playoff games you're ever going to see. The Marlins winning in their final at bat. That year, the Marlins felt that if they did not sweep the Giants, that they would lose that series. Breaking ball is in there for a strike on Rodriguez. The count 3-2.
That's pitching there, Tony.
Yeah, I mean that was a great pitch because he'd been working the outer half on Pudge, and then he starts a breaking ball right at him. And so your point about having not seen him before, I think, comes into play.
Payoff pitch, he got a piece, hit it back to the net. The game-winning hit for him yesterday in the 11th inning, and with a count of 1-2, Tony.
Just good hitting. Shortened his stroke up, went with it. The key was the ball was elevated, it was up, so that made it a whole lot easier to do. But the bases loaded, you're down a run, you need a hit, you need to find a way to tie the game or win the game, and he stepped up there and delivered again.
And there's not a team in the playoffs playing with the exuberance and the energy of the Florida Marlins right now.
Everybody talks about the young kids on this Marlins team, but Pudge is the one leading the charge.
Tony, I totally agree. And when I look at his numbers, just 297, 16 homers, only 85 RBIs, it makes me think of Kirk Gibson when he won that MVP with the Dodgers years ago, and how he came up big in the postseason. He was hurt, could only play for that one at bat. But he does the same kind of intangibles for this team. He takes the young guys to lunch. He shows them around the new towns when they're on the road. He has really been an amazing leader.
For youngsters like Miguel Cabrera, Luis Castillo leading at second. Little bloop shot. and that'll be out of play. Jerome Williams out of Honolulu, 21 years old, made 21 starts during the regular season.
Basically a number one in 1999, one of those sandwich picks that you get when somebody takes a free agent away from your ball club. Always one of the youngest starters in each of the leagues that he's played in, but he's always played well.
The 3-2. High chop. Castillo looking to move up. Aurelia on to first base in time, and Castillo is into third. Let's go to the studio for an update. Here's Carl Ravitch. Carl.
Hi, Dave. Thank you very much. Yankees and Twins, of course, being seen on ESPN. The birthday boy, Kyle Lowe. Check out his pitching here. Jeter goes down in the first. Giambi goes down in the first. Soriano grounded out, so the Yankees were done. Meantime, the go-ahead run 90 feet away. Roger Clemens gets Matt LeCroy at 0-0 going to the second.
All right, Carl, that's exactly what Williams is trying to do here with the go-ahead run for the Marlins 90 feet away. And Castillo and the batter, Derek Lee. Pick-off play, but he dives in. And apparently the Marlins are going to have to be very, very alert on the bases today because Williams is not afraid to throw to any base.
I thought that was just excellent composure there to not get the foot wrong to step off the rubber. I mean, he stepped off. He saw Castillo break down the line, stepped off, made a great throw to third.
Pretty cagey play.
And I agree with Tony. I don't think they were trying to steal home there. I think they were trying to get a balk out of the young guy. And he says,
Well, he's trying to say to a first inning run and keep it scoreless here in game 4. A check swing by Lee. Derek Lee had a career year in home runs and RBIs. 31 big flies during the regular season, 3 out of 14 in this series. Fastball snuck in under the hands. 1-2.
Yeah, you look at Williams' minor league numbers, and what gets you to the big leagues as quick as anything else is throwing strikes. He's always done that, but he's never really been, per se, a strikeout type pitcher.
Well, he almost struck out Derek Lee there, who barely got the bat on it to foul it away.
You know, you look at a lot of guys that get to the big leagues in a hurry, Tony, and they normally at least strike out a guy per inning.
Yeah.
And he's never done that at any level he's ever been.
It just goes to show if you can throw strikes and put it where you want to put it, you're going to get outs.
The 1-2. He left it wide. So an even count on Lee. Miguel Cabrera, another of the young Marlins who's had a breakthrough season. He waits on deck. Beautiful hot sunny day here in South Florida on a Saturday when normally all eyes are focused on college football in this part of the country. But look at this house. 64,000 for baseball. Marlins baseball.
And a lot of it, Dave, was walk-up.
Sure was. Swing and a miss, and Lee strikes out. So Williams leaves that runner glued to third base. Both youngsters off to good starts in Miami. Pro Player Stadium here in South Florida. No score after 1 inning. Division Series game number 4. The Marlins up 2-1 after a thriller in extra innings yesterday. Edgardo Alfonso leading things off against Dontrell Willis as a pair of 21-year-old rookies go head-to-head. And Alfonso is the one Giant who is having a brilliant offensive series. 6-15 his batting average. A brilliant play by Cabrera along the line, and he guns to get Alfonso, denying him what would have been his 9th hit of the series. And the Marlins are making all the plays.
This kid's special.
Yeah, he is.
Tony, I know you bear down on him watching him take batting practice. What do you see?
Yeah, well, he's a much better third baseman than you think. He's a big guy. He's about 6'3". But he's got good range. He's got nice soft hands, as you saw in that play. Backhand. He got up. He's got a strong arm. You see one error in 34 games. He started out playing left field, and I tell you, he's been impressive. He really has, and it gives Jack McKeon some options too, because you can put him in left. He can play third. He probably can play first, but not that he's gonna. But I think he's been very impressive.
Here's Marquise Grissom with the bases empty and 1 out.
You know, when they come up as a shortstop like he did, that on all the other teams that he's played on, he's been the most athletic person. So he won't embarrass you anywhere.
And that's a body he's going to grow into and get even more strong and more powerful, and could develop into a 35 to 40 home runs a year kind of guy.
You know, that's kind of scary when after you've stood next to him. I mean, this is a big guy, and he's got some growing to do too.
Willis walks his second man. This one coming with one down. Let's go down to Bob Carpenter. Bob.
Even it's no surprise that Edgardo Alfonso is having the kind of playoff series he is. As Rick mentioned last night, he's very family-oriented, very religious. It was very difficult for him being apart from his family the first half of the season. He was in San Fran. They were in New York. He took the break, had a long talk with his brother. In the second half, he hit .306, 49 RBIs. It's no surprise he's been on base 9 times in this series.
And Carpy's done it in the playoffs as well before in the 2000 League Championship Series with the Mets. He hit .444. Here's JT Snow, a runner at first base. And we'll see if Grissom is gun shy at all about trying to pick up a theft of second. Remember, he was gunned down at third base yesterday by Pudge Rodriguez, who indeed made a terrific throw, but still scratching ahead about that one. A line shot into left center field and deep out there. Pierre had to back up for it into third base. That's Grissom. And on at first, JT Snow. And they're on the corners here. And a second inning threat for San Francisco.
Well, we've talked about all of the great things that Juan Pierre has done for this ball club. He's the igniter, the leadoff guy. He's the guy that sets things in motion. All of his range in the outfield. But the one thing that the Giants know about him, he can't throw.
Right.
And Marquise Grissom takes advantage of that. He got a walk. There's a base hit to the opposite field. They're going to test his arm every chance they get.
Absolutely. And Marquise Grissom, knew as soon as that ball went into left center field that he was going to go to third. And much like the Marlins put pressure on the Giants, they need to start putting some pressure on the Marlins.
Swinging a high fly ball by Torrealba, driving back Conine. Conine right there on the warning track to make the catch, but here comes Grissom. He'll tag up, and he is in to score. And San Francisco has a 1-0 lead as Torrealba, getting the catch today and batting 8th, has himself a sacrifice fly.
And that's good hitting, really. That's good hitting by Torrealba. You got first and third. The thing you don't want to do is hit it on the ground. He got a ball that he can kind of get some lift on, and it's a fly ball to left field, and they get the run home.
I think a young pitcher might have got caught there. He's been watching everybody else take that first pitch. Well, that's because there wasn't anybody at third base. I mean, things change when runners get into scoring position. He found what he was looking for, and I thought for a second he got it. A little quick, you can see it.
But the man out of Caracas, Venezuela, getting in that lineup today and paying a dividend. Fouled away by Williams. Jerome Williams, the pitcher. 2 down here to run in for San Francisco. And Tony, how important is it after that heartbreaking loss to the Giants yesterday to score first off of Dontrell today?
See, I think it's huge because now you can breathe a little bit. You got a run on the board. You got an early lead.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Strikeout number 2 for Willis, but the Giants get run number 1 here in game 4. They're up against it. Jack McKeon, one popular dude here in South Florida. And they want to write that headline, Jack slays Giants. But his team is down 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Rick Sutcliffe, Tony Gwynn, Dave O'Brien, Bob Carpenter with you as Miguel Cabrera goes after the first pitch from Jerome Williams, who has a slim lead here. It'll be Encarnacion next and then Conine. This, by the way, the 7th time in Major League history rookie starting pitchers have met in a postseason game, but they've never been this young. That's a strike as Cabrera committed. Jeff Kellogg said he went, and the count 0-2.
Another thing, too, Tony, that I give credit to Jack McKeon for, these young players don't complain a lot.
No, they don't.
They leave that up to him.
Rake down the left field line. That's going to skip on that grass and up against the fence. Cabrera wants 2. Bonds up and throwing, and it's offline. He's got himself a walk-in double. Second 2-base hit off Williams for the Marlins today. Let's go to the studio for an update. Here's Carl Ravitch.
Today, San Francisco draws first blood. So do the New York Yankees. Hideki Matsui, upper tank. It's a 2-run shot, and the Yankees are on top of Kyle Loesch on his birthday by a score of 2-0. So back to Florida. We'll keep you posted.
And back here in Florida, the Marlins trying to get on the scoreboard here themselves. A leadoff double by Cabrera. And Tony, I know you like his swing a lot.
Yeah, 0-2 there, too. And just kind of shortened up. Got a ball that he could hold it in the corner. Marlins have a guy in scoring position.
Encarnacion looking to bunt, drops it down to push that runner to third. That'll do it. Cabrera safely over to third base. So the Marlins looking to tie, trailing right now, but think about this. They have 5 wins against the Giants in the postseason, and they trailed in every single game. It's early, but it is 1-0 San Francisco at the moment, and Jeff Conine about to dig in.
Jack McKeon talking about that sacrifice bunt before today's ball game, saying really the only guy he wouldn't do that with is Derek Lee. He said when guys hit clean up, they're expected to do big damage. Everybody else needs to be able to do anything that we ask for as far as offensive is concerned.
I think it's interesting that the Giants are playing their defense here kind of halfway. They're not playing it all the way in. They're playing it halfway. So if they have a shot at the plate, they might take it. You see,
I don't know. Don't you come all the way in?
Well, you know, I kind of think they think that Cabrera doesn't run that well, and if they hit a medium ball to the middle of the diamond, they're going to have a hard time throwing him out.
Conine lets it go. It's in for a strike, 1-1.
And of course, if you're Jeff Conine here, you're looking for a ball that you can that's elevated a little bit, so you can take this infield situation completely away and drive it in the outfield somewhere.
And where Conine excels in spots like this is going to right field.
Absolutely.
With that short stroke. Hammond's playing quite deep out there. It's a very expansive right field. Instead, he pulls it. Aurelia bobbles it. Throw to first offline, and everybody's safe. The run scores. And the Giants continue to shoot themselves in the foot. The run in to make it 1-1.
Now, and that's kind of where that halfway kind of gets you in trouble, because Conine hits this ball right on the button. Cabrera breaks as soon as the ball's hit. Aurelia, if he comes up with it clean, he's got to play at the plate. Now he rushes to throw to first, and they get nothing.
Well, I think he caught JT off guard. JT was looking for the throw to go home. But I agree with you, Tony. I don't like that in between, because when you get to the spot where Aurelia was, that's where everybody's running. Yep. That's where all the cleat prints are. You're going to get bad hops there.
If he's playing normal depth, that's just a regular 2-hopper right at your shortstop.
And Jack McKeon wasn't going for it. He said, look, you're not all the way in. We're going on contact. He did. That aggressive play is what got him here. It got him tied in this game.
6 errors now in the series for San Francisco. Here's Alex Gonzalez. 1 down and a run in. He bloops that one foul. A lot of these plays on which the Giants are making mistakes, though, Tony, are not difficult plays. No. That ball was hit right at Aurelia. The ball that Cruz dropped in right field yesterday, he one-handed that ball. His own admission, he should have caught it. Yep. They're making mistakes on plays they don't usually make mistakes. This is very un-Giant-like baseball.
Very un-Giant-like. I mean, we saw a ball go through JT Snow's legs, and that never happens. And even with the mistakes that they've made defensively, to me, it still kind of boils down to what they've done on the offensive end. They've had countless opportunities. You know, I go back to game 2 where they were up 4-1. They had the bases loaded and 1 out.
Yep.
Just a fly ball, ground ball changes the game.
Gonzalez waiting on a 1-1 pitch, fouls that one away. Now, Gonzalez was very nearly the GOAT in game 3. He made an error in the 11th inning on Bond's hard ground ball to short. That led to Alfonso's single to put San Francisco ahead 3-2. And then he failed to drop down a sacrifice bunt in the bottom of the 11th inning. He eventually drew a walk.
And how rare, that's almost as rare him walking as JT Snow making an error.
That's right.
33 walks on the year, 13 of them intentionally.
Shattered bat on a pop-up, and Aurelia sees this one clearly to make the catch. Out number 2. Dontrell Willis now to step in. He swings a pretty good bat. And up against his fellow rookie 21-year-old in Jerome Williams, who's trying to get out of this inning with only 1 run allowed.
Williams has been impressive too here. He's made quality pitches. He made a quality pitch to Conine. Really should have got an out of that pitch. And he's been impressive. He's working both halves of the plate. Looks very composed.
Yeah, even after the error, comes right back throwing strikes.
Now he gets the number 9 hitter. That one up the middle, hit pretty sharply and through for a base hit. A single for Willis going after the very first pitch. First and second. And the go-ahead run in scoring territory now for Florida. Thanks to Willis. His mom is here today. His mom, who raised him, a single mom who did such a wonderful job. She's delighted.
That guy's an athlete. Swings the bat, throws 90, 92, 93 miles an hour.
So smiles from Joyce Harris, and a great story. She's a welder on tall buildings and bridges. That's what she does for a living, raising Dontrell, who's just a great kid.
She ain't going to be doing that much longer.
No, Dontrell says that his mom was an excellent softball player. She was a first base woman, I should say, and catcher. And after game, she would catch Dontrell. In there for a strike on Juan Pierre. He has flied to right, 0 for 1.
Said he was here at 8 o'clock this morning, Tony. Lenny Harris said he was lying because he said he walked by his car and he felt it and it was cold.
I believe Lenny too.
Yeah, Lenny said he'd been there a lot earlier than that. That one hit sharply but foul, skipping just outside first base. Otherwise, 2 runs in. Very close by Pierre.
I think Pierre thought that ball might have been fair. Foul.
Well, it took the first bounce was in fair territory. Yeah. But then it had some kind of weird spin, or it might have caught the seam where the grass and the dirt come together because it just threw it into foul territory.
Conine and Willis on board. 1-2 the count on Pierre, who struck out just 35 times all year. Just looking to get the bat on it.
That's what he was talking about. Tony, you've talked to him a lot about hitting. He said, I have to shorten up.
And that's, it's usually the last thing to come, especially for a guy, like Pierre. He knows his role. He's a guy who can bunt. He's a slasher. He's going to go from line to line. But, these 2 strike at bats, when you're the leadoff hitter, these are the kind you got to try to find a way to get the bat on the ball.
2-2.
Got to be selective and get yourself a good pitch.
Pierre was 0 for 5 in Game 3, but he drew a very key walk from Tim Worrell, and he would score the winning run in the bottom of the 11th on Pudge Rodriguez' 2-out single. The Marlins had very little time to celebrate, though. Right back at it for a 1 o'clock first pitch. Line drive caught on the leap by Alfonso. A tremendous play. That saved at least 1 run. But the Marlins get 1 run, and they have tied this thing up in game number 4. We're even at 1. Well, the Marlins need a win to go to the National League Championship Series, but they're tied up with the Giants here in game number 4. More division series coming your way. ESPN2, it's Oakland and Boston at 7:30 Eastern Time, 4:30 Pacific from Fenway Park. That'll be Lilly against Lowe, the A's leading that series 2-0. Major League Baseball Division Series on ESPN2. Manny Ramirez has to get going, Rick Sutcliffe. They are corralling him, and that one is looped and line foul by Ray Durham, and the 3rd inning is underway.
And they got a chance to get going, that being Boston. I'm not taking anything away from Ted Lilly, but he's not Mark Mulder. And with Mulder out for the year, Boston's got a chance to pick up a couple of wins and some momentum heading back to Oakland.
The Red Sox ripped Lilly in his start at Fenway Park earlier this summer. Knocked him around and knocked him out early. Durham 0 for 1. He's flied out to center. And it's Hammonds and Aurelia as the 2 young starters look to settle in now. A breakthrough year for Willis. He won 14 games coming out of nowhere. He's actually from Alameda, California. Last year, rooting all the way for the San Francisco Giants. He also roots hard for the Oakland A's.
It's got to be weird for him to be out here on the field competing against him a year later.
Oh, you betcha. Cut on and missed. And of course, as far as the A's support that he has shown all his life, how about the constant comparisons to Vita Blue, which started when they brought him up in May?
And I love what Jack McKeon said when this series started. You know, there was talk about Schmidt pitching today or not. And he said Willis is definitely pitching because we wouldn't be here without him. National League Pitcher of the Month in the month of June. Won 8 of his first 9 decisions. You can talk about changing managers and you can talk about fans starting to show up, but you do need to start right here with this young man.
Well, the crowds grew. They had a special ticket package just for him, the D-Train ticket package for just Dontrell starts here at Pro Player Stadium. Routinely drawing many thousands more for his outings than anybody else. Television ratings had a tremendous spike when he was pitching.
I loved asking him, well, when you went to the clincher going to the World Series, why didn't you go to a World Series game? Woo-hoo. He said, I couldn't afford that.
He strikes out Ray Durham to begin the 3rd inning. Number 2 for Dontrell.
75%. That's a pretty good figure in just about anything you do. And that was the percent, Tony Gwynn, of leadoff men that Dontrell Willis got out. I mean, that's Greg Maddux like.
Yeah, that makes your job a whole lot easier when you get that first guy. You know, I think he's kind of found his rhythm now, and he's been able to throw everything for a strike.
I tell you, nothing would give me more confidence in a start than when I got a hit. You expect to pitch well when you get a hit.
And now he is really beginning to mix.
Yeah.
And to take something off when he has to.
Yeah. He threw a changeup to Durham for the 2nd strike, and now he comes back with one to Hammonds.
Hammonds drew a 1st inning walk against him. The thing that has really impressed the Marlins, Jack McKeon and his staff, is what an outstanding student of the game Willis is. A great smile, very upbeat, energetic personality, a humble guy. Swinging a fly ball left center, but that's out there in the Bermuda Triangle.
You know, they can talk about composure and they can talk about how his pitch selection's so good, but their pitching coach, Wayne Rosenthal, says a lot of that credit has to go to Pudge. He said this is a kid that didn't have a changeup last year. We developed it on the side, but he still really doesn't know when to use it. Ivan Rodriguez does.
You made the point yesterday, you didn't see anybody shake off Pudge Rodriguez. In fact, throughout the series, it's been like that. They have total confidence in this veteran catcher. That went down low for a ball. And it's a lot like what you see from the Giants starters and Benito Santiago, who's not catching today, but they're very comfortable with him.
I totally agree with that. I mean, they have yet to shake off. And the thing about it is, it's not just the pitchers that Pudge has had an influence on. It's all these guys. It's everybody.
Yeah, it's his team.
And Rick's exactly right. Where he goes, these guys will follow.
Aurelia pops that one out of play, 0 for 1 with a strikeout.
It reminds me a lot. Some of the criticism about Pudge in Texas was fair. I mean, it came from so many people. He puts down a fastball all the time with a man on or what have you. It reminds me a lot of Benito, because Benito was criticized early, and he gets a second chance, and you mature, and it becomes more important, and you do the job.
Ripped into left, but Conan right there on the sinking liner. Hit well, but round number 3. Been talking about Pudge Rodriguez, the hero of the series so far for the Marlins. He'll be up to bat when we return to South.
Everywhere.
Our aerial views courtesy of the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company and its fleet of airships. With us today, the Goodyear Blimp Stars and Stripes, continuing a 78-year tradition as the aerial ambassador and icon of the 105-year-old company.
I mean, that's just one of those names you trust, Goodyear. Everybody have a good year.
This game must be big because it's football Saturday in this state. And they're covering our game.
Sutcliffe gets back home. There's going to be what do you think?
Yeah.
Snow tires, and more snow tires in the driveway there.
Well, you're not going to need them down here.
You betcha.
Tony ain't going to need them in San Diego.
All you men. Luis Castillo 1 for 1 with a double that skidded off the second base bag. Rodriguez and Lee after him against Jerome Williams. Now the Marlins had never faced him until today. First time through the order. They did get a run on 3 hits. Second pass is a little different story for teams against him as his rookie year unfolds, Rick.
Sure is. 190 team average first time through the lineup. After that, 268. I think that's a good move on the part of Castillo. From the left side, he's not going to hit many extra base hits. He didn't hit any home runs this year. Make him throw 2 strikes rather than just 1.
The payoff. Little trickler, third base side foul. Castillo will head back home here.
You know, Tony, I'm just thinking, I don't think I ever saw you swing the bat 3-0.
I think once. I think I did it once, but my theory was always 3-1 was going to be just as good as 3-0, or 3-2 is going to be just as good as 3-1. You know, in our case, they didn't like to walk you.
Well, there's ball 4. So Castillo is on. I wonder what possessed him to swing the bat on 3-0. The one time he did it.
What happened?
I just got greedy. You know, every now and then you take a shot. I was trying to go deep, and it's funny because it happened against the Marlins. I fouled it. It was a 3-0 pitch. I fouled it off. The next pitch, I went deep.
Should have done it a lot more often.
That's what Ted Williams said. That's exactly what he said. He said you should have done that more often.
Yeah, but you had you were a number 2 guy. You know, you were a top of the order guy, get on base, score.
Well, see, when I started out, I was a lot like Pierre and Castillo. I didn't have a lot of pop, so I just kind of concentrated on, you know, trying to get on base, trying to steal bases, trying to score runs. That's what they do for the Marlins team. That's what I did. I was that same kind of guy, but you know, as you get older, you get smarter. As you get smarter, you start to pay attention. You start to realize how you do what you do, and then you try to add to your game.
And you know, you and Edgar Martinez to me are so much alike, almost parallels in opposite leagues, because you know, people talk about strong and being in the weight room. Your strength is your wrist and your forearm.
Yeah.
And that's where that power came from. That's where his power came from.
Pudge Rodriguez with some pops, 16 home runs during the regular season with 85 runs batted in, and he lays off that pitch.
I remember that spring training. I grabbed one of your practice bats, and it had weights on the knobs.
You remember it, yeah.
I mean, that just a little drill to strengthen it?
Yeah, because if you watch guys in the on-deck circle, most of the time you put a donut on the end of your bat that puts the weight on the barrel.
Yeah.
And really you want the weight in your hands because that's what's going to get the barrel through the zone.
I'm learning all the time, David.
Check swing. Rodriguez did not go. You worry me a little bit about how much you know about Tony Gwynn, though. What did Tony have for breakfast this morning? I mean, you know everything there is to know about T. Gwynn here.
I don't think he had much because he was behind me in that buffet line.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot left.
I guess it helps to know everything you have to know about an opponent, but nobody really knew how to get him out. Throw over to first base and catch.
Oh yeah, they do. You know, Rick says I hit good against him, but he probably got me out twice as often as I got a hit, and that's how this game is. You know, this situation right here, this was my favorite situation in the game because if you had a little movement, I was pretty good at trying to hit the hole. Pudge already proved that he could do it too. Going between first and second, he's done it, you know, already a couple of times. And so when you get to these kind of situations, and even when you're, you know, 2-0, you take a shot, you try to, you know, do what you do. But he proved last night once again he can shorten it up and take a shot at right field and drove in the winning runs last night.
Well, this part of the lineup pretty deadly against the Giants yesterday. Their 2, 3, and 4 hitters went 7 for 15. Castillo takes off, and that's a gap shot. And he does hit the whole way out there. Up against the fence, Castillo can crawl home and into second with a double. Pudge Rodriguez, his 6th RBI of the series, and the Marlins lead it 2-1.
All of you young hitters, write this down. Write down the date and the fact that you heard it from Tony Gwynn. On 2-0, Tony, you mentioned he took a shot. He tried to pull the ball out of the park. Now what happened?
Yeah, and then with 2-1, he shortened his stroke, and he hit the ball where it was pitched. This ball is out over the plate. It's elevated. And when you're trying to go the other way, that's the ball that you want to hit. You want that ball that's up and elevated. He did it again. He did it again last night. And this is a hit and run. So you don't want to try to force it over there. You just want to hit the ball where it's pitched.
And that might have been Jack McKeon forcing him to shorten up a little bit.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I didn't like that swing. Let's make him go to the opposite field. But we both know Pudge does that a lot.
So Castillo scores all the way from first. Activity in the bullpen already. And Rick, you mentioned at the top of the inning, he gets into a little more difficulty. Williams does the second time through an order. Well, he walked the leadoff man Castillo. He's given up the double, and now he's fallen behind Derek Lee.
You know, we talked about Pudge so much in the last couple of days, but if you're the guy hitting behind him, you can't help but have that have an effect on what you do. And I think Derek Lee is another example of a guy who's benefited from hitting behind Pudge all year long, because he's a guy that's gone the other way a little bit more this year than before, too.
Here comes Righetti. He does not like something going on with Williams here. Dave Righetti, the pitching coach, out to the hill. Jason Schmidt, the speculation was hot after yesterday's loss in Game 3 that their ace, Schmidt, would start today. Brower continuing to throw in that bullpen, but he went to Felipe Alou last night and said, I can't do it. Not on 3 days rest. I'm not able to go. Alou admitted he was leaning that way. Probably would have started Schmidt today. Schmidt obviously available for game number 5 if there is one.
Well, one thing Righetti did when he got out there, he looked straight down at the left foot of Jerome Williams, and I'm going back to his at bat. Oh, great shot, guys! Watch what happened. Look at the front foot, right off the top of it, and that was the first thing it looked like Righetti asked him about.
Lee foul tipped it to the mid. 2-1.
Should be 3-0.
Well, once again, you know, I mean, Jack McKeon has not been holding these guys back. He's letting them go ahead and take a whack at it. But I know, Jack, there's a situation here. A job needs to be done. He's the 4-hitter.
3-1.
He's the 4-hitter, and his job is to either get him over or get him in.
And look at young Miguel Cabrera. He walks back to Bill Robinson as if to say, if he walks, am I bunting? I mean, that's a kid that gets it.
Nobody out here. Instead of base hit into left. Rodriguez into third. He's trying to score. Bobbled on the infield, and a run is in. 3-1. Derek Lee with an RBI hit to bring in Pudge Rodriguez, who's always in the middle of everything.
I don't know if there's a more aggressive or better third base coach in the game right now than Ozzie Guillen. I thought he was the key to the ball game back in game number 2 when on a base hit to Jose Cruz Jr. in the 5th inning, he sent the runner. Not only did the runner score, that being Conine, but Hollingsworth got to third base. The next thing you know, they erupted. They're erupting again.
Williams is coming out. He does not retire a batter in the 3rd inning. The Marlins lead it 3-1. We'll be back.
Middle of the Yankee lineup showing up. Yankees and Twins. Matsui already with a 2-run home run. Bernie Williams, he delivers the 3rd run of the game. Clemens hadn't given up a hit through 2. He's on the mound now, facing A.J. Przinsky and the Minnesota Twins. 3-0 Yankees.
This is an elimination game for the San Francisco Giants, and they are trailing with the Marlins still batting and the Giants starter out of the game. The Giants on the brink of elimination. The upstart Marlins, one of the most surprising stories in baseball this year, maybe the most surprising. And they get to the San Francisco starter. Jim Brower coming on, but Williams didn't get anybody out here in the 3rd inning, and it's awfully early to be going to the bullpen.
Yeah, especially after, you played extra innings and you used 4 or 5 guys down there.
Lee with an RBI single to chase in Rodriguez. Rodriguez doubled home Castillo. And the Marlins have opened up a lead here.
Pudge is at it again. I mean, he's only allowed 1 run. I mean, it should be his ERA as opposed to the pitchers because he's calling all the pitches. And what has he done? He drove in a run in this inning, and he scored a run. He by himself is ahead 2-1.
Cabrera with a double. He scored a run today.
Tony, just like you said, Derek Lee and Cabrera both are doing the exact same thing Pudge did. The first pitch they see they like, they're trying to hit it out of the park. Then after that, they're shortening it up.
And don't be surprised here if Derek Lee works on trying to get a jump over there. And 21 stolen bases on the year. He looks a little
jumpy. He stole one yesterday.
Like he wants to go, yeah. Because you see him and you don't think of him as a guy who's going to steal a whole lot of bases, but
I'll tell you what you do think of when you think of Derek Lee, certainly down here in South Florida. Superb first base defense. Made just 5 errors all year. He probably should win the Gold Glove finally for the first time in his career. Roll foul by Cabrera. Encarnacion would hit next. Nobody out. Now this is when Williams came out of the ballgame, lifted by Felipe Alou, and did not go gently. He broke that bench. Did you see that? You see that right hand? He actually broke the wood on the bench.
Wow. It's not real smart.
No, you do it with the left hand. When you're a right-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have a left hand, though, let's take another look at that bench.
You got to have some strength to do that, too.
The Giants wish he had a little more strength in the pitching hand as opposed to the punching hand.
I think that's the big difference between the 2 young starters here this afternoon. Willis has gotten the leadoff hitter out every inning. The last 2 innings in which the Marlins have scored, Jerome Williams was not able to do that.
The 1-2. It's stiff. Bonds is not going to get it. It's already up against the fence. Lee into third. He'll put on the brakes there, and it's another extra base hit for Cabrera. 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles. Third straight hit in the inning for Florida. Jason Schmidt, unable to go, said he could not do it on just 3 days rest, which he had never done before in his career.
Well, and Jack McKeon told Mike Lowell, I don't need you to do it today. He didn't want to take a chance. There was a hard-throwing right-hander on the mound. I think Jack McKeon has just pushed every single right button he needs to push in this series, Tony.
Oh, I totally agree. And every time he's pushed a button, whoever was in there, he's just fed them nothing but confidence and trying to get guys to believe that they can get it done.
Encarnacion now, the infield leaning in for the Giants. Terrific play by Alfonso, lunging to get it and throws on to retire Encarnacion, and the runners stay right where they are.
Well, that's so true. I mean, you can put on the sacrifice, you can put on the hit and run, but then this game always has been and always will be about players performing, and his players have risen to the occasion.
Yeah, they have. That's a nice play by Alfonso.
Alfonso could not be doing much more than he's doing defensively and with the bat, but the rest of his teammates have not caught up in this series.
I think that last AB, Encarnacion, he got a good pitch to hit, and he hit it kind of hard. Alfonso makes the play. You've had 4 guys go up to the plate in this inning, all doing the same thing. They've worked the count, they've gotten ahead, they've taken their shot, they fouled it off or swung and missed, then they settle in, hit a line drive somewhere. And in this situation, you're up 3-1, and by no means do you have this game won. Those guys standing out there at second and third, those are important runs. You want to get those guys in.
An intentional pass of Conine loads up the bases for Alex Gonzalez, the number 8 hitter. So he will bat here with no place to put him and just one man out.
That's a great point, Tony, about Encarnacion. I mean, if I'm on the mound right now, a few years ago, I feel like I can get out of this.
Yeah.
You can strike Gonzalez out. You got the pitcher next.
Marlins, by the way, the only team in the majors not to hit a grand slam this season. In fact, they haven't hit one since hitting grand slams in each of the first 2 games of 2002. So it's been a while.
Well, you figure with 8-9 coming up, you got a good chance of getting a ground ball.
Broken bat roller. Alfonso steps on third for one. Crossed the diamond. He made another fine play. And a terrific job by Brower to get out of the inning. But the Marlins grab 2 more and lead it 3-1. A victory in the Florida Marlins advance to the National League Championship Series. The Giants trying to get it to a 5th game back at Pac Bell tomorrow. The Giants need Mr. Bonds, and he drives one deep to center field. Pierre backing up on the track to make the catch. He hit one to the warning track yesterday. He does it again in Game 4 and just missed one.
That's a pretty pure swing right there. He just didn't get enough of it, but right off the end. Looked like he got it towards the end instead of in the middle of the barrel, but that's a nice swing.
That's Joyce's reaction. Dontrell's mom, she can breathe now. And so can Dontrell, who faces Edgardo Alfonso. He's having a tremendous series. 0 for 1 today, but came in with a batting average of .615, and he's made a couple of dazzling defensive plays as well.
I hate to think where they'd be without him. He's gotten the big hits for him. He's made some nice defensive plays.
Alfonso with 4 hits yesterday. Flies this one high into left center. Pierre and Conine wants it. And Mr. Marlin puts it away. Let's go to Bob Carpenter now with Dontrell's mom, Joyce. Bob.
All right. Hey, Joyce, how's your guy pitching so far?
He's doing pretty good, looks like, out there.
He's got Barry Bonds 0 for 2. Now, you were a catcher for 20 years. You used to catch him a lot as a kid. When did he start throwing too hard for you to do that anymore?
When he got about 11 or 12, he started throwing all kind of stuff up there that I couldn't see, or keep up with, so.
When you think about where you and him were a year ago at this time, did you ever dream anything like this?
No, we didn't. We didn't even think like this out this far. We were just hoping that he worked his way up from different divisions. That's, we were praying he just got through AA.
How was he before this game today?
Fine, being Dontrell.
Yeah.
Just outgoing like he always is, fine.
Well, we wish you well. Congratulations so far, and so far so good today.
All right, thank you very much.
Hey, guys, she's worked on every major bridge in the Bay Area. She also works on ballparks. In part, Pac Bell Park is the house that Joyce built.
That's a great story, Carp, and she obviously does not fear heights, and her son has reached a dazzling height in the major leagues. He's become the biggest star the Marlins have these days, and trying to pitch them into the National League Championship Series against the Giants.
What a neat lady.
Yeah.
She's a baseball mom. You could tell by the way she said he was throwing all sorts of stuff up there that I hadn't seen before. That's when I knew he was moving out of my league. She's something. Popped up back toward the net. Pudge Rodriguez will not have room. It's off into the crowd. Now after the Bonds drive, and it was a shot, Dontrell's reaction. Mom's was very similar, I think. Bonds denied. He is 0 for 2 today. Just 2 for 9 in the series. The crowd in Dontrell's ears. Looper to right. Here comes Encarnacion. He's there. Very casually puts that one away, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. The second in a row for the left-hander, Dontrell Willis. The D train has him going here in Florida. It is a 3-1 Marlin lead, and Dontrell Willis will stand in and face Jim Brower, and then it'll be Pierre and Castillo. Jerome Williams knocked out of the ball game as he lasted 2+, did not retire a hitter in the third. We really don't know if that foul ball off his foot had much to do with his early exit in this game, but he is gone, giving up the 3 runs that the Marlins have scored. And Willis was part of that uprising in the second inning. He got himself a base hit. So he's 1 for 1. Earlier this season, he belted a home run on May 31st off of Danny Graves. And he slices another single to left. And everything is going Dontrell's way today, at least so far. Let's go to the studio for an update. Here's Carl Ravitch.
Hi, Dave. While you're away, the Rocket was throwing to A.J. Przinsky. Goodbye no-hitter, goodbye shutout. Home run for Przinsky. They couldn't add to it, so it's a 3-1 game in both places right now.
So here come the Twins. Willis is on and Juan Pierre in the box with Mom looking on. And Dontrell getting a lead. Pierre in the contest is flied out and lined out. He is 0 for 2.
Pierre squared up there and 4 guys were moving. Third baseman to first baseman charging. Durham sprinting towards first base. Aurelia sprinting towards second base.
You got to figure that he's got the green light when he sees that happening from Jack McKeon to pull it back and just play pepper somewhere.
In there for a strike. He was indicating bunt. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He got caught in between a little
I think
bit
you're
there,
right.
Tony.
Yeah.
We talked in the first game. You have to read the shortstop on this, and Aurelia did a great job deking him there. He acted like he was going to take off moving, and he stopped, and Pierre didn't know what to do. And when you are indecisive, take that first strike.
Showing bunt again. 2-1.
And Pierre's already shown in this series that he's got enough back control. He can whip that baby back and take a shot at short, try to hook a ball in the hole. You know, we've seen him, try to push a bunt over Alfonso's head at third.
Pierre not bunting here. Hits it sharply to base hit through the middle. Willis into second. 2 on and none out.
You know, he messed with him, Tony. He faked like he was going to bunt. He did this. He brought him in at the corners. He brought him in at the middle. And then what did he do?
And see, this is back control right here. He pulls it back and slaps it right up the middle. And the only reason why that ball gets by Aurelia is because he's got to shorten up a little bit in case he does bunt.
Willis on base for the second time into scoring territory. Pierre 1 for 3, and now Castillo to bat. He has doubled, walked, and scored.
I think this is the toughest spot, Dave, right here for a base runner. And in particular, when it's a pitcher who's not in this position a lot. He's going to lay down the bunt, but you got to read it.
Went after it, foul, tipped it for a strike.
I mean, normally teams have 4 different plays. They have the regular play where, the pitcher will take the line, the first baseman comes in, the third baseman stays home. They have the wheel play, which they put on there, where everybody, you charge on the corners, and the guys up the middle go to their respective bags, leaving second base open. The thing the pitcher has to worry about is the pickoff, Tony, and from 2 places. One from the pitcher, the other one is on a pitch where it looks like the guy's going to bunt it, and he don't, and the catcher picks him up.
I think that's what they're trying to set up here, because Torrealba throws very well.
Drops it down. They let it roll, and it does spin foul. Great decision there by Alfonso to let it go.
That's a great decision there by Alfonso to let that go. You got to, if he doesn't let that ball go, he's going to have a hard time.
Take a look at what happened here, Tony. Look at the pickoff was on. Look at the shortstop.
Yep.
You called it. If that ball was not bunted, if it was taken, they were going to try to pick Willis off at second base there. Look at Torrealba. There's some leadership there. I mean, Alfonso was going to let it go, but he was just reassuring him.
Torrealba's got a gun. 39% caught stealing this year. Had he played enough, that would have ranked second best in the National League. So they have a couple of catchers who can flat peg it. 2 strikes on Castillo. Not bunting here, obviously. 1 and 2. Pudge Rodriguez up next.
See, here's where the top of the Marlins lineup and Pierre and Castillo, they can drive you crazy here because, he tried to bunt. Pierre tried to bunt. He slashes a single up the middle. Now Castillo tries to bunt, and he's the same type of hitter.
Virtually impossible to double up this Castillo as well, especially on the left side of the plate. The count 2 and 2.
I mean, this is Vince Coleman and Ozzie Smith there. This is Alan Wiggins and Tony Gwynn. I mean, you are exactly right. You get this guy to move some runners over, then you sit back and watch the big boys.
And then the other thing is that both Pierre and Castilla, they don't really chase a whole lot of bad balls. They've got a pretty good eye up there, so you can't just throw anything up there.
Well, that's for sure. This at bat is a perfect example. The count was 0-2.
That's exactly right. And now it's 3-2. We don't know if the runners are going to go, even with Willis out there.
They're not going because I see Ozzie Guillen put his hands up.
And they're not going. And swung on and missed. Castillo strikes out.
I was watching him give signs, and I saw Willis kind of look at him with that, like, uh-oh. And so Ozzie just goes, stop. You're not going. I mean, that's getting it done as the third base coach.
Instead of giving him the conventional signs, you're not going, he just said, no, you're not going. You're not running. That's a nice pitch by Brower there. Like I said, these guys at the top usually put the bat on the ball. And 3-2 count, makes a pitch, and gets it out.
Well, he really did make a crucial pitch. Nobody warming up in that bullpen for San Francisco. But Brower, if he can get a ground ball right at somebody, is out of this inning despite giving up back-to-back hits to start it.
Well, that's twice that these Marlins have not executed. And as Tony said, this game is far from being over right now. Encarnacion should have made something happen. Castillo should have made a productive out.
Here's the red-hot Pudge Rodriguez, though. And anytime the Marlins do something, it seems offensively or defensively, Pudge Rodriguez's name is somewhere in the mix.
Just right in the middle of things.
Drove in his 6th run of the series with a double in the 3rd. The Marlins, incidentally, have out-hit the Giants 8-1. Off the end of the bat, a trickler to first base. Snow has 1 play. The runners move up. Now they're at 2 gone. So no RBI this time for Rodriguez, but he does get now 2 men into scoring position. And that'll send up Derek Lee.
And if they don't score in this inning, Tony, Dontrelle Willis has used up a lot of energy out there on the base paths here for nothing if they don't put a run up.
Yeah.
He needs to touch home plate, and they need to give him about 10 minutes to get a drink and a towel and some water before he goes back out. If not, he could get in trouble.
You know, if he wasn't such a good athlete, I mean, he inside out of that ball left field when he was hitting, and you just hate to see him running around this early in the game. He's been on base twice, 2 hits.
And I think that was a sign right there. I mean, there's 2 outs and the ball was hit on the ground. He should have been coming home. And he just kind of now he's taking his helmet off. Castillo, he didn't move him up. It made it more difficult for Pudge.
It's a hot, muggy day as Lee takes one outside. It cools off around here whenever there's an ice age. That's pretty much it. Temperatures in the 80s and 90s. Actually gets into the 70s over the winter months, which lasts about 9 days.
Yeah.
So Willis might be feeling some of that heat. Wrapped foul into the dugout of the Giants by Derek Lee.
Jack McKeon was talking about that conditioning, Tony, saying that Willis pitched over in San Juan at a ball game there, and the reading on the field was 156 degrees, and he said he's just as strong in his last inning of work as he was his first.
Well, you would think he would be fine because of the adrenaline and pitching in his first postseason game, but you know, playoff baseball is a little bit different than regular season baseball.
Yeah, that heart is racing.
Yeah.
1-2. Check swing by Lee as he stayed away from that pitch. But think about Brower and what he did an inning ago.
Yes.
He got Gonzalez with the bases loaded to hit into the 5-3 double play and end that threat. And now if he strikes out Lee, he gets out of a 2nd and 3rd 2-out situation. Full count out, 3-2 on Lee. The Marlins up 3-1. If they win, they go to the National League Championship Series and shock the Giants. He walked him and the bases are loaded. He's on. And the youngster Cabrera will march up there now. He's a perfect 2 for 2 with a pair of doubles today.
It looks to me like Derek kind of stuck to his plan today. He wasn't going to chase anything out of the zone.
Second straight inning, the Marlins have had the bases loaded.
This is the last guy I'd want to face right now.
You know what? I was just thinking the same thing. I mean, he's swinging with some confidence. These are the first 2 hits he's gotten in the series.
0-1. Dustin Hermanson begins to loosen up in the bullpen for San Francisco.
I'd like to avoid him, obviously, in this inning. First of all, somebody would score. Second of all, the pitcher spot is due up third in the top of the 5th.
1-1. Still early here in the 4th inning. But the Marlins have the bases jammed, and this could be a back-breaking kind of a hit if Cabrera gets another one. It almost hit him. He tried to sell it to the home plate ump, Gary Cedarstrom, and said, look at the elbow. He wasn't buying any today.
I don't think that's a good idea for the guy behind home plate.
Well, it didn't miss him by much.
Sure didn't.
Broken bat, looped into left, a hit. Willis, and here comes Pierre. Bonds throwing home. He dives, he's safe. 2-run score. to 1 Florida. Cabrera with his 3rd hit today against the Lewis Giants, who may be fading out in the 1st round.
All of you rotisserie league and fantasy league guys that do that, you better try to figure out a way to get that guy on your team. He's going to be an everyday player, a productive player, Tony, for a long time.
Well, I totally agree. And not only does he get the base hit, but look at the base running. Pierre comes in to score. Willis scores. Pierre scores. Lee goes to 3rd. Cabrera goes to 2nd.
Willis tried to do some housekeeping too and pick up the busted bat as he raced in and clear it out for the man behind him, Juan Pierre. He's doing a little of everything today. Cabrera with his 3rd hit. He's driven in 3 Marlin runs. Encarnacion took a swing there. 5-1 the Marlins. Second and 3rd here, 2 down and 2 strikes on Encarnacion.
Oh, I want to go sit down. He's saying, oh, let me get this out of you. No, I can't help you. Sorry about it.
And Pierre, who dove in with a winning run in the 11th inning yesterday, scores again here in Game 4. Joyce pumped, and I think she's doubly happy her son could finally go in and sit down and get a drink. He was out there for about 15 minutes on the bases. She raised Dontrell all by herself. He's become an emerging star. Swung on and missed for strike 3. Encarnacion whiffs, but the Marlins get 2 more on the scoreboard. And here in Game 4, with the Giants at the brink of elimination, they have opened up a 5-1 lead over San Francisco.
Welcome back to our baseball studios. Yankees and the Twins. Roger Clemens pitching a good game. Full count. Right back at you. Didn't even need the glove. Deflected with that body of armor and then caught it with his bare hand. And 0 for 22, 13 Ks. It's Torrey Hunter again.
All right, Carl, thank you very much. JT Snow stepping in here against Dontrell Willis. We're on to the 5th inning in South Florida. Snow lifts this one foul off first, an easy play for Derek Lee. 1 down. The Giants in postseason play now and facing elimination. The news is not good. 8-16. 0-1 against the Marlins in the 97 Division Series. That's when they were swept and lost Game 3 at Candlestick Park. Barry Bonds and his team went to the 7th game of the World Series last year. He's also tasted bitter defeat at the hands of the Marlins going back to '97. One hop down to get it, Castillo. And Torrealba is gone on one pitch. Well, Game 4 of the Braves-Cubs series is on Fox today at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Russ Ortiz throwing for Atlanta. Matt Clement goes for the Cubs. They can clinch the series with a win. Later at 7:30, the A's and Red Sox move to Fenway Park for Game 3. Oakland leading 2-0. Major League Baseball Division Series on ESPN2. Here in Miami with over 64,000 fans at Pro Player Stadium, Dontrell Willis has become a folk hero here with a magnificent rookie season and all-star campaign. Well, he's allowed only one hit to the Giants. Galarraga gets in the box, and he's going to pinch hit here against the D-Train. Deep short. Gonzalez steadies, throws, gets him. That's the third consecutive 1-2-3 inning from the left-hander Dontrell Willis. He is in a groove. In front of a sold-out house at Pro Player Stadium, the Florida Marlins are inching closer and closer to another appearance in the National League Championship Series and eliminating the San Francisco Giants. 5-1 Florida in front. And Jeff Conine, who is 0 for 1 today, will step in against Dustin Hermanson, the right-hander, the new San Francisco pitcher, and their third of the day.
I mean, this whole season is just absolutely unbelievable what the Florida Marlins have done. 5 straight losing years. All right, you spend some money and you bring in Ivan Rodriguez. Well, you know, he's been hurt. He missed 176 games the last 3 years. What's he going to do? The fans weren't showing up. They fired the manager. Torborg was gone. They're under 500. They're 10 games under 500 at the end of May with Jack McKeon running the show. But Tony, all of a sudden, he got his people in place. He got the pieces to the puzzle where he wanted them. And look at what's happening.
I just can't even believe it. I just think that the job that they've done, these players have done. I'm not writing this game off as being over yet, but I mean, they've acted like they wanted it more. You know, they've executed. They've run the bases well. They've pitched well. You can't give these guys. I can't give Jack McKeon enough credit for the job he's done.
Conine pops someone to shallow right. Durham and Snow out, and Durham will make the catch in fair territory. Jeff Conine, the crusty veteran of this team, along with Pudge Rodriguez, and he says there's nothing quite like being in their clubhouse and in their dugout. These guys play young, but they also play as hard as any team in the game.
This team, fly by the seat of your pants, little league in big league uniforms, basically. Enthusiastic, boisterous, emotional is, you know, as best as I could describe it. And you know, no matter what the situation, everybody's yelling for each other. Everybody's pulling. Somebody hits a home run, it's like little league. Everybody comes out of the dugout and meets you, you know, before you even get to the dugout halfway, and you know, slapping hands and heads, and you know, it's just it's a fun team to be on.
You know, Jack McKeon had what could have been a difficult position down there at third base. Another thing, you know, that they get all that momentum going, they start playing better, and now Mike Lowell, their leading home run and RBI guy, he seems to be gone for the season. But Tony, miraculously, he was able to come back. He's ready to play, and that
one hit deep but foul by Gonzalez.
That intricate situation that could have been was handled perfectly. Lowell probably felt like, well, I'm going to be playing today. Well, no, you're not. But no problem in the clubhouse. Nope. Everybody pulls for each other. And look at what Cabrera's done.
Yep. You know, I'm sure, you know, he would have loved another crack at playing today.
Gonzalez pops it up, another play for Durham. And it is 2 up and 2 down. The other thing that makes it hard, and Mike Lowell is not that kind of a guy to argue about such a thing anyway. He's an outstanding team player, but makes it a lot easier to know this. They're 18-8 with him out of the lineup. They played very, very well despite Lowell, their all-star, exiting, and part of that was the pitching of this man, Dontrell Willis. Although today he's starring with the bat as well. He has 2 hits, 2 for 2.
How about the average age of the starting pitchers Florida Marlins have run out there? Willis is 21. Beckett's 23. Redmond yesterday 29. Penny 25. 24 and a half years of age combined. Castillo's 28. Pierre's 26. Derek Lee's 28. The old man, Pudge, he's 31.
I know, he's an old man.
Lowell's 29. Encarnacion's 27.
I'll give you another name, and he was out through the season because of an injury to his pitching arm, but how about A.J. Burnett? That's essentially like, when they get him next year, signing a stud pitcher off the free agent market, getting him back. He is filthy. He's thrown a no-hitter in his Marlin career, and he was the ace of the staff coming into the season.
Yeah, and I talked to him before yesterday's ball game, and he was saying that he's playing catch at 90 feet, absolutely no problems whatsoever. So he is on track to being part of this rotation.
Whether or not they can hold that core together financially here in South Florida remains to be seen. But Larry Beinfest, the general manager, has done magnificent work, especially plugging the holes like the closer situation. And Looper lost that job at the end of the season. They had Urbina. Basically, Beinfest stole him.
Well, it started with the guy he yanked off a tractor in North Carolina. That's where it started.
Jack McKeon. Yeah.
Tony, you played with him, for him. You know him better than anybody.
I mean, his basic thing is that as long as you're working hard, you prepare to play the game, he's going to let you go. He's going to let you go do what you do. And I think that's what he's done. He's brought a little bit of discipline. He isn't afraid to, snatch you by your shirt.
Swinging a drive by Dontrell Willis on the run. Grissom, he can't get it. It's over his head. How about this? Up against the fence. He's heading into third. Willis trying for three. Dives in with a triple. His third hit of the day. The D train has run amok in South Florida.
You gotta love that. Your starting pitcher goes for three and goes head first at third.
Tony, they call him the kid with the kick. Well, watch him kick it in right here, bud.
He's smelling three right about there.
And he's on fumes right about there.
Wow.
3 bases, 3 for 3 for Dontrell Willis. Mom's going to take some time to sign an autograph.
She's signing an autograph now.
My goodness. The most hits by a pitcher in a postseason game since 1988. Orel Hershiser in his whirlwind tour of the postseason. 2 down here, 5-1 Florida. And a thunderous ovation when he hit the dirt and landed safely with the triple. The ovation in this ballpark was as loud as anything heard in Game 7 of the World Series, short of Renteria's game-winning hit against the Cleveland Indians.
Let's see if all that running around is going to have an effect on him on the hill. I doubt it. I mean, we said this last inning when he was running around, and he promptly went out and got 3 outs on 5 pitches.
This isn't the physical time of the year. This is where the person that's mentally stronger is going to perform the best.
Yeah.
If you start thinking about what's going on from your neck down, Tony, I mean, your knees hurt, your back hurts, your hands hurt, you got no chance. You think from the neck up now.
Hermanson's pitch is too high on Pierre, who singled his last trip. 5 runs on 10 hits for the Marlins. 1 run, just 1 hit for San Francisco.
Really, with the exception of Game 1, it seems like Pierre Castillo's been up there every inning, just leading off the inning or finishing up an inning.
2-2 pitches down and in. Usually the case is if you win the first game of the division series, you're in great shape. The Game 1 winner has gone on to win 14 out of 16. The Giants got that tremendous performance on a Schmidt in Game 1, but he could not pitch today. Fouled away by Pierre toward the bullpen. So the Marlins are turning that stat on its ear, at least in their series. so far. Schmidt brilliant, a 3-hit shutout. And the speculation was that he was going to start today with the Giants at the brink of elimination. High fly into left field. Barry Bonds there. And he's got it. Side retired. Dontrelle Willis lighting up the crowd again, though, with his 3rd hit today. A triple from the Marlins starting pitcher, and they're going crazy for him here. The Florida Marlins are 4 innings away from going back to the National League Championship Series for the first time since 1997 when they won it all. 5-1 they have the lead as we go to the top half of the 6th inning. Tony Gwynn, Rick Sutcliffe, Dave O'Brien, and Bob Carpenter with you. Dontrelle Willis is the story. A 21-year-old rookie. He's thrown a total of 56 pitches, but just 9 in the 4th and 5 in the 5th, Rick Sutcliffe.
Well, he went to the final game when the Giants last year knocked out the St. Louis Cardinals to go to the World Series. He couldn't go to the World Series because, Tony, he couldn't afford a ticket. He may not need to buy a ticket this year.
Well, they keep playing like they're playing. He keeps pitching like he's pitching.
He set down 11 straight Giants. Facing Durham here, top of the order for San Francisco. Hammond's next, and then Aurelia. If anybody reaches, Barry Bonds, who is a quiet 0 for 2 today. Dontrelle growing up in Alameda, California. That's where he developed that funky windup of his, so difficult to pick up. The big kick, the twist, the hiding of the baseball. And the windup originated during the long afternoons when he was a kid, when his friends would play a simple pitcher against hitter game called strikeout in the driveway. And that was an attempt to fool the hitter. Willis played it every day, played strikeout every day, starting about 10 years old with his buddies Ross and Reed. They lived across the street. A tennis ball, a wall, and a bat, you get yourself a game. A base hit through the hole. Ray Durham may be starting something here against Willis. We'll see if he's tired with all the road work he's done today, all that work on the bases. Well, whenever the Goodyear blimp is flying above a stadium, you know it must be a big game. Overhead today, providing these beautiful aerial views, is the Florida-based Stars and Stripes, one of the 3 airships in Goodyear's U.S. blimp fleet.
That's the first time today he didn't get the leadoff hitter to start an inning. So, you know, the bullpen's starting. He's taking movement down there.
Deep breaths out there too right now. He's he might have been better off staying in second. I know it's something that they'll never forget here. All 64,000 of them love the fact that he went on, but he might have gotten himself in trouble with that last 90 feet he ran.
Yep.
Well, Brad Penny, who started game 2, available in the bullpen, he's starting to warm up right now. And is the sign you look for, Rick, keeping the ball up, getting the ball up and out of the strike zone, that a guy is tired?
I think you just look for strike 1.
Yeah, that's because first 5 innings he had no problems throwing it.
So the right-hander getting loose quickly. That one down into the dirt. Hammonds has walked and he's also flied out today.
I love that right there. You know, I watch a lot of little things between pitcher and catcher. He just threw that off-speed pitch not even close. Pudge got the next baseball from the home plate umpire and literally about knocked him off the mound. Instead of just flipping it back, I mean, Pudge airmailed it back there as if to say, hey, let's go. And right when Rosenthal, the pitching coach, saw that, he came out and said, look, you want it or not? If you want it, let's keep throwing strikes. Let's put something on it. If not, we'll get somebody else in here.
Yeah, and by the way, stop hitting triples.
You know, they wouldn't have said that. If he scored, they wouldn't have said that.
That's right.
If I was Willis, I might have said, Pudge, you give me the mask, and if you're going to throw that hard, here you pitch.
Well, 2-1 on Hammonds. Rockets that one, pulled it wickedly, but foul. That hit home run distance. He smoked it, and you know it caught their eye.
And you know this team is not out of this game. You know, they've proven they can put some runs on the board. They got the right part of the order coming up.
Oh, yeah, you get the next two guys on. Barry Bonds represents a tie-in run.
Alfonso, who's been red hot in the series, will hit after Barry Bonds. Hot shot. That one gets by Cabrera. May have caught some leather. I think he slowed it down. Conine picks it up along the line, and Durham goes headlong into third. On the corners, nobody out, and the Giants are rallying here.
Missed opportunities. Tony, you talked about it in the open. That has been the name and the story of this series. Well, they had a chance to add more runs on. Second and third, one out. They didn't do it. They had a chance there to turn the double play. Again, didn't get it done.
Yep, and, you know, we talked about it. Willis running around the bases like that, and, you know, for 5 innings, he's been able to go out there, get that leadoff hitter out, get himself in rhythm, make good pitches, and now for the first time after the triple, leadoff man gets on. Hammonds hits a bullet down the third base line. Could have been a double play. Isn't turned.
Up, Hammond's ball ruled a hit. Here's Aurelia. He had himself a swing too. He came out of his shoes to hit that one. 0 for 2. He struck out and lined out to left. Aurelia with good home run power. To say nothing of the man right behind him. But Aurelia with 6 home runs in San Francisco's playoff run last year. So all of a sudden it's gotten a little bit quiet inside what was a raucous Pro Players Stadium when Dontrell Willis went flying headlong into third base.
I think there's a lot of nervous people here now.
Did he offer at it? He did not. 1-1.
Funny how little bitty things make such a big difference. Is it 1-1 or is it 0-2? Jeff Kellogg was the one that made that decision. I think he made the right one. There are a lot of umpires, though, that go the other way when they hear 64,000 people yelling at them.
Not a sound you hear every day. Hit hard and a fair ball inside third down the line. That caroms to the warning track and up against the fence. Durham is in. Hammonds will be into third base, and it's a double for Rich Aurelia. That might be it for Dontrell Willis. Bonds is coming up. Second and third, a run in. It's 5-2.
This was a bullet. Ricocheting down in the corner. I honestly thought that they had a chance to score Hammonds on this ball, but
with nobody out.
Exactly. You want to take a chance on losing a base runner.
Well, first base is open. They're going to pitch to Bonds carefully. But if he hits one out, this game is tied. The all-important first strike on Barry Bonds, who's popped up and lined out to the warning track in center. Willis getting wrapped around in this inning. Swinging a fly ball into left, but there's Conine. In to make the catch. Hammond's coming in. He'll score standing up. Bonds drives in to run, and his first of the series. It's a 5-3 game. Sacrifice for Barry Bonds.
Now I think you go get him. He has just left every single thing that he had in his body on the field here this afternoon. You got the right-hander coming up, followed by a right-hander. Brad Penny looks to be ready down in the bullpen. He's taking his hat off. If McKeon wants to go get him, he's ready to go.
He's not coming out to get him right here. Alfonso the batter. He's grounded out and flying to center. 0-1.
Well, McKeon's got a lot of confidence in Willis, and he feels like he's kind of gotten himself together here, and he's going to let him stay in there.
Alfonso hitting .533 in the series. Takes the ball downstairs. On deck, Marquise Grissom. The inning started with a base hit by Durham. Then a hit by Hammonds. Then the double by Aurelia. Bonds driving in a run with a sacrifice fly. One out, a runner at second, and cut right through by Alfonso.
They talk about reaching back, Tony, and digging deep and all of the cliches. Here comes that crowd.
They're getting back in it.
Well, you guys said he feeds off the crowd. He's made a couple of good pitches here.
The lefty's 1-2 into the dirt and cradled by Pudge Rodriguez. Terrific block by the Gold Glover.
I thought he didn't do this stuff anymore. We haven't seen anything get by him this series.
Nothing. That was the kind of pitch that he saw when he threw the runner out at third. He backhand the ball out of the dirt like that and still threw a missile to third yesterday.
A base hit could make this a one-run game, and it's up and in. 3-2. So Willis is laboring here in the sixth. The Giants have gotten back into game 4. They've done it on 3 hits. But this guy's been a hit machine in this series. Popped up. Cabrera. Foul ground, heading for the stands, and can't reach it. He's already made one play today where he reached into the crowd and snatched it for a terrific catch, and that was early in the contest. Still 3-2. Dontrell's mom a tad more anxious than she was an inning or so ago. The 5-1 lead has shrunk to 5-3. Penny is ready if necessary. Hit hard again, this time foul.
The only reason that McKeon didn't go get Dontrell Willis, first of all, it wouldn't have been popular with the crowd, but second of all, it was Alfonso that broke open early game 2. Mom knows that her kid is he had his Wheaties this morning, man, but did he have enough?
Fought off again.
Now, Alfonso drove in a couple of runs in that 4th inning that knocked Brad Penny out of game 2. And that's the last time that those two hooked up as far as this season is concerned. And that might be the reason that Trader Jack decided he's gotten Alfonso out twice, maybe 3 times is a charm.
Swinging a high fly ball left center field. This one's deep. Pierre going back, looking to the wall. It's off the fence. Here comes Aurelia around to score, and this is a one-run game. And now comes the question, did McKeon leave him in too long? Alfonso with another hit. His 9th of the series. Penny is coming in now. It is 5-4. The Giants have come almost all the way back in this inning against Dontrell Willis.
Well, we talked about him maybe leaving him in too long, but I don't want to disrupt this ovation.
Well, you know he had to be gassed after the 3 hits and the triple. He's coming out. Penny coming in. And the crowd rising up here at Pro Player Stadium for 21-year-old Dontrell Willis. We've got a ball game here in game number 4 in South Florida. The Marlins leading the series 2-1, but the Giants have just put 3 up there off of Dontrell Willis, and they have knocked the left-hander out of the ball game. So both starters from each side are now gone, although he is responsible for what would be the tying run, and this one almost got out of the ballpark.
What's that thing called that hit out there? The teal
tower.
Teal tower. Well, it hit the top of the teal tower, Tony.
Yeah. And I mean, it barely stayed in here. And all of a sudden, Giants get some opportunities. They had no opportunities early, and now they get some opportunities, and a sac fly and 4 hits, and they're right back in the ball game.
Brad Penny coming on, and he started game 2. He lasted 4 innings, throwing 57 pitches. He'll square off against Grissom here with 1 down. The tying run at second, and Rick Sutcliffe, this is not a position that Penny is accustomed to.
No, it only happened 1 time in his big league career, and that was in his first year back in 2000 that Brad Penny came out of the bullpen.
Grissom began the series 0 for 8 and finally came up with a couple of hits in game 3. Went 2 for 6. And this one he has walked and scored. He's also flied out to right.
You know how a lot of times your heart tells you one thing and your mind's trying to tell you something else? I think that's where Jack McKeon got caught.
Yeah.
Alfonso came up with a double. That one trickled toward the middle, skipped off the mound. Gonzalez collects it and gets him. But down to third, Edgardo Alfonso. 2 out. JT Snow to hit.
And we can't forget about the ball that Jeffrey Hammonds hit. It was smoke.
Yeah.
Not only were there a lot of balls hit hard that were in play, there were a lot of balls that were hit hard foul. But if Cabrera comes up with that is a routine double play. You got 2 out, nobody on, and everybody's happy. Now everybody's a little nervous.
So we've seen in this series, I mean, both sides have had opportunities to make plays, and when they didn't make them, it's turned around and bite them.
Snow 1 for 2 today, wraps a foul. He came into this postseason a .329 career playoff hitter. Was batting just .167 before his single back in the second inning. Nathan, the right-hander, loosening in the Giant bullpen. So this will be decided by the bullpens. Right through the chute for a strike. Penny throws very hard. He can get that fastball 95 to 99.
This crowd's trying to help him get it to 99 or above.
Alfonso leading away from third. 2 down and the 0-2. Toward the middle hard. Underneath the glove of Gonzalez, and the game is tied. The Giants come all the way back with 4 runs in the inning, and we're starting all over in the 6th. A 5-5 game. Gonzalez could not make the stop.
And this ball right here is hit like the ball Barry Bonds hit yesterday. Up the middle. He tried to short hop this and take it on a slide. He just couldn't get there.
Well, you charge that run to Willis. No victory for him today. The batter, Yorvit Torrealba, has driven in 1 run today with a sacrifice. He's also grounded out.
Really a young mistake made there on the part of Brad Penny. You got the count 0-2. Pudge was wanting the fastball in, and he let this crowd get inside of him, thinking that he could just throw it by anybody. JT shortened up on his swing, just let you provide the power.
And an RBI single for him to tie the game. Snap throw, close, got him. Snow is cut down by Pudge Rodriguez. Snow will argue the call at first base. Side retired, and we're tied at 5. Well, the Giants rally to tie it. They had a go-ahead run potentially there at first base in JT Snow. He is cut down. Jeff Kellogg calling him out on the throw by Pudge Rodriguez. Take a look.
Well, watch it from here. Obviously, it looks like he's out, right? The throw beat him. Look at that. There's the tag. Boom, he's out. All right, let's go hit. Well, wait a minute. Let's take one more look at it. JT Snow had every right to argue. He missed him there. Look at that. He's out right there. He got him. Boom. Outstanding camera work, guys.
Here's Luis Castillo as we get the last half of the 6th inning underway. But what a comeback by the Giants as they score 4 times on 5 hits. Another look.
Watch it hit the shoulder. The hand's not there yet. That's unbelievable how many times plays that quick, Tony, these guys get it right.
Jeff Kellogg on the call at first base. And, of course, we have 2 additional umpires in postseason play. The 4 in the normal rotation, then 1 down the left field and right field line. Castillo eyeballs a strike. He has doubled, walked, and struck out today. After him, Pudge Rodriguez. And then Derek Lee. In there for striking. I wonder, too, on plays like first base and other calls that you're likely to see as far as the Marlins go in the series, how much of it, too, is the reputation of Pudge Rodriguez working on the head of an umpire? I mean, he's got the cannon. He's a Gold Glover, maybe headed to the Hall of Fame one day. A great catcher defensively.
A lot like having Tony Gwynn in the box or Don Shula on the sideline.
I mean, but the thing about that play is the ball beat Snow back to the bag by so far. I mean,
Castillo takes ball 4. He reaches for the 3rd time. College football Saturday, number 7 Tennessee taking on the Auburn Tigers. 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Tennessee ranked number 7. Casey Clausen leading the Volunteers to a 4-0 record. Action starts at 7:45 Eastern on ESPN. College football Saturday. Every game a must-win. As is this for the San Francisco Giants. Lose and they are done. But a great rally to score 4 times and knock Dontrell Willis out of the ball game in the top of this 6th inning. Here comes a Lou out of the dugout now for San Francisco. And he goes right for the home plate umpire, Gary Cederstrom. So he heads to the bullpen. Hurts is coming on for San Francisco, and we'll be back at Pro Player Stadium for Game 4 in just a moment.
Well, hindsight is 20/20, but there was more to Dontrell Willis's tiring than just that triple he hit, wasn't there?
Well, in fact, he did get up 4 times in last game in between starts. He pitched to Barry and 2 other hitters, and then he hit the triple. So he was out of gas with his legs and his arm. Too bad.
Do you let him go out and face the first guy?
Well, I think he should get through Barry, and that's enough. Once he got through Barry, all signs said he was gone.
It wasn't enough in the earlier game. He got through Barry. They left him in then, too. Are they going to regret it? It's tied up. Let's go back. Bobby and I will be here to update you on that Twins-Yankee game as things warrant.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Well, we've come to expect exactly this, in particular in this ballpark, between the Giants and the Marlins come playoff time. Yesterday, Game 3, 4-3. The Marlins win a thriller in 11 innings. The Giants fight back from a 5-1 deficit to even this game at 5-5. The new pitcher now for San Francisco is Matt Herges, a 2.62 ERA during the regular season. And in 2 games, he's allowed 1 hit and 2 in the 3rd innings while striking out 4. Part of a double switch now. In fact, they made a couple of changes. Aside from the pitcher, Hammonds moves over from right field to center field. And Jose Cruz Jr., who's had a very difficult defensive series, including dropping one yesterday, late in the game, turned out to be a crucial play. He goes in and right. So Felipe Alou, who juggled his lineup to start today's game, going back to some of the pieces he used yesterday. And the batter is Pudge Rodriguez, with Luis Castillo, the runner, at first and nobody out.
We've seen Herges in this series make some great pitches. He's been difficult to get hits off of, but the one knock on him is that most of the time he's got that big, high, slow leg kick, and he's a guy that base stealers prefer to have on the mound when they want to run.
Rodriguez with 6 RBIs, homered yesterday, 6 RBIs in the series. And in Game 3, drove in all 4 Marlin runs. Fastball up. 1-0.
Castillo's a guy, Tony, that led the league in stolen bases a few years ago, but this year 21 stolen bases, 19 times he was caught. We know that he had some surgery on that hip after the season last year. He's not the same base runner he once was.
No, he's not. They need him in the lineup every day. And Jack McKeon still gives him the green light. but he doesn't run nearly as much as he used to. I think with Herges on the mound here, this is probably more of a hit-and-run type situation again anyway.
He throws that two-seam fastball in the outer half. That's what you look for to hit in that direction.
The Marlins stealing 150 bases to lead the big leagues during the regular season. That's outside.
Now, I'll be honest, I'm kind of surprised that Felipe Alou took his best center fielder, Grissom, out of the game and put Hammonds in center. And I realize it's the double switch and the pitcher spot was getting ready to come up, but you know, late in the game, I think you want your best defensive people out there.
Totally agree with you.
The 2-1 waved at and a late cut by Pudge Rodriguez. 2-2.
You know, and you might think he would just want Herges to get through this inning, Tony. He pitched an inning and 2/3 last night. You don't know how much more he's got left in that. And like you said, you keep Grissom in the ballgame, he's going to get that. He's going to get to hit again.
Yeah.
Big hole there on the right side of the diamond. He pulls it instead and foul. Rodriguez, the star yesterday, and late too in the 11th inning. With 2 out, 2 strikes, 2 runs on that base hit to right field and a game winner. The Marlins won it 4-3-11 to take a 2-1 series lead.
It's amazing how quickly the next day comes. You find yourself in another situation, and you know that's like old news now. I mean, you're tied up. They've caught you.
Yeah, what have you done for me this hour? Up and in, and down he goes on his back, rather slowly, to avoid getting drilled. 3-2.
Obviously, you're not trying to hit him. Pudge trying to go the opposite way, maybe, Tony?
And they know that, and they're not going to let him dive out over the plate either.
That's a hallmark greeting for you.
So lots of heads looking around here. Pudge looking at Ozzie Guillen. Castillo looking at Guillen. Castillo looking at Jack McKeon.
Castillo has not tried to steal. He's running now, and it's inside for ball 4. Back-to-back walks here in the 6th, and the Marlins have 2 on and none out.
Let's see if Jack McKeon changes his mind. He said earlier today the one guy that he wouldn't bunt with is at home plate right now.
Now, was some of that just to maybe allow that message to filter over to the other clubhouse? So Felipe Alou would not be expecting it? Any gamesmanship there?
Not with me. I don't go running over there telling him anything.
I don't think so. I think Derek Lee's coming to his own this year, and he kind of wants to let him go. But it wouldn't surprise me at all, though, if he did bunt right here.
If he drops it down, he's got a base hit, and the bases are loaded. Because Alfonso is way back behind third. Ball 1 on Derek Lee.
Didn't even have a sacrifice bunt attempt during the regular season. So it would be real tough to ask him to get that done.
Oh, by the way, Ramon Hernandez of the A's in game 1 against the Red Sox won a game on a bunt single when nobody in the building expected it. That hits him, and the bases are loaded that way. Bases loaded, nobody out for the Marlins.
Absolutely nothing defensively the Giants can do about what's happened here so far. 2 walks and a hit batsman with nobody out.
Well, you talked about their bullpen being used a lot in the last couple of days, and you're not knowing what you're going to get from Herges.
You know, and it's one thing too, Tony, to use your pen a lot in April and May.
Yeah.
These guys have been out there all year long.
Yeah, absolutely.
Herges went an inning and 2/3 yesterday. Air pitched, Nathan did, Rodriguez and Worrell, they all showed up in game 3. Today the bullpen for San Francisco has not pitched very well at all. 4 walks, a hit batsman, 5 hits.
Yeah, and you got to look for that run total to go up because 2 of those 4 walks are out there on base.
You've seen them battle out of these situations, though. I mean, Until the last inning, the Giants had opportunities, couldn't cash them in. The Marlins have had opportunities.
Here's Cabrera, 3 hits today, perhaps on his way to a monster afternoon. 2 doubles, a single. He's driven in 2 runs.
I'm watching that velocity, that last pitch by Hergis at 85. He's normally a 92 guy.
Yeah, he was yesterday.
Yep.
Castillo, Rodriguez, and Lee on the bases for Florida. Tried to hold up, could not. He committed, and it's a strike, 0-2, so Cabrera's in a hole.
But just took his helmet off and kind of chewed on Cabrera a little bit, saying, come on, let's shorten this up.
You know, it was Pudge's throw picking off Snow there that kind of changed the momentum of this thing.
And they're giving you the run. They're back at every position.
Yep. A ground ball gets you a run. A ground ball anywhere except back to the box gets you a run.
The 0-2. Chased it, and he missed for strike 3. Hergis with a big K. Cabrera makes his first out of the afternoon.
That's just a horrible at bat, to be honest with you. Yep. I mean, we have built this kid up, and deservedly so. But Tony, we've talked many times. I mean, hitting with runners in scoring position is different than hitting with nobody on.
That's exactly right. And you saw that in that at bat. He was thinking about maybe hitting that 4-run home run early in the count. He falls behind. And that last swing was really a defensive swing. And it takes a little while to start to understand how to hit with guys in scoring position.
Encarnacion now. The Marlins did not hit a grand slam all season long. This is the 3rd time today they've loaded the bases.
I remember somebody describing that hitting in those situations is like a 16-year-old learning to drive 55. You know, remember how quick those white lines would go by you that first time you got out on the freeway?
Mm-hmm.
It slows down eventually for all of us.
Encarnacion, he's had his opportunities too.
Good RBI man during the season, 94 RBIs. Loops a foul out of play to the right. Now the Marlins, a lot like the Giants yesterday, are missing on opportunities to score with men in scoring position.
And as long as that number is like that, it's going to haunt you. It's going to come back. And it already has, really, because they've had opportunities, and the Giants have come back and put 4 runs on the board, and now the game is tied instead of, maybe 7-5 or maybe even 8-5. They've blown opportunities, and the Giants have come back and caught them.
1 ball, 1 strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
There's nothing else to look for. He's going to backdoor that 2-seamer. He's done it to every single right-hander that he's pitched to in this series. This is what you have to be looking for. Cabrera was, he's the biggest guy right now. Back in the bottom of the 3rd inning, 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, and he doesn't get the run in, and nobody else got it in.
One-two pitch punched on the ground to Durham. Over to Aurelio. 1 on the first double play. The Giants wriggle away without allowing a run. The Marlins loaded the bases with nobody out and come up empty. Our Game 4 line score here in Division Series game number 4. The Marlins up 2-1 in the series, but it's tied up 5-5 thanks to Hergis. What a great job out of the bullpen.
And they get it turned. There it is, Durham to Aurelia. He sets, gets everything he's got on that throw. And guess what, boys? We got us a ball game.
That's Jerome Williams, who started today, the rookie right-hander. And he was the first one up there on the top step to greet Hergis. Bases loaded without the benefit of a hit for the Marlins, but nobody out, and they failed to score.
If you're on the Giants side, yes, you should be pumped.
And if you're on the Marlins side, are you losing some of that swagger? Those little leaguers in big league uniforms that Jeff Conine talked about. A swing and a high, pop to shallow left. Gonzalez says he has it. Torrealba retired. He is 0 for 2. A lot of men left on base. Of course, the Giants setting a record in the division series with 18 left yesterday. The Marlins, though, have stranded 10 today.
That's a lot, and it's a lot because a lot of these guys were on base with less than 2 outs.
Jose Cruz Jr. batting for the first time. He does not have a hit in the series. Is that one going to get through? No, Castillo spins and gets it. Luis Castillo, a brilliant play into the outfield. It's been that kind of series for Cruz Jr.
He had a hit. He just had it taken away from him. We were talking last night, Tony, how not only does this team normally make the plays, but they make a lot of plays other teams don't make.
Yeah. And this ball's hooked into the hole, and look how quick he gets back on his feet, and look how much he gets on the throw to get the out at first.
He's got a shortstop arm.
Man, I mean, he's turned a couple of double plays here in this series that has been impressive.
Ray Durham 1 for 3 with a 6th inning single, and it was in that 6th that San Francisco rallied for 4 runs. They took Willis out of the ballgame. Dontrell Willis in that inning. Rich Aurelia with a double. Edgardo Alfonso had an RBI double off the top of the National League scoreboard, which almost snuck out of here. JT Snow came up with a big hit, an RBI single in that inning to tie it. That snuck under the glove of Gonzalez, and there went a 5-1 Florida lead. That's on the inside corner for a strike. 1-2 on Durham.
We were all surprised that Jack McKeon let Dontrell Willis pitch to Edgardo Alfonso. After he got Barry Bonds out, the left-handed hitter, you figured that was the end of the day. A terrific outing. It didn't work out. Alfonso almost tied it up himself, but then eventually the base hit by JT Snow got the job done.
Willis had a fascinating day. At one stretch, he retired 11 in a row. They had him a 4-run lead. He had 3 hits, including a triple himself. The 2-2. Sharply, but foul. Major League Baseball is giving away World Series tickets for life and other great prizes. Winning hologram numbers will be announced during games 1 through 4 of the 2003 World Series. You can visit your neighborhood Radio Shack store for your chance to win. Beautiful sight high above Pro Player Stadium. 64,000 plus here today.
I was just thinking about Dontrell's mom, and you know, I mean, as hard as this game is on us, you know, with the ups and downs and the stress we do, you know, moms are right there with you.
No, but I'm sorry, trying to build Pac Bell Park and walking them beams, man. This has got to be cake compared to that.
It doesn't look like it, though. The expression on her face, does it?
Well, she's living, you know, she's right there with her son.
It's been fairly tight, fairly consistent all day. It's a ball.
Penny home with a 3-2. Got him. 1, 2, 3 go the Giants, and the fans who've been up on their feet all day are going to stay that way for the 7th inning stretch, tied at 5.
We're going to the bottom of the 7th inning, and you can see the excitement is still there for Dontrell Willis, the first guy out of that dugout to congratulate his fellow normally starting pitcher Brad Penny for that 1-2-3 top the 7th.
They've become pretty good friends. Penny says of Dontrell, if you don't like him, you don't like people. And Penny holding the Giants a 5-5 tie. We're starting to get into the late stages.
They've got a lot of those people over there, Tony, when you think about Pierre and Conine, and this has been a fun series to be involved in.
Yeah, it really has. You know, there's a lot of guys on that Florida team just play a game. I mean, they play the game the way we learned it, the old-fashioned way. You work hard and prepare. And
Conine swings at the first pitch and pops it back out of play. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. I thought Boomer read a great disclaimer, too, in games 1 through 3. Very underrated.
Well, it's easier for him when it's his last one, man. You might have one more to do.
Well, it could be if this one goes to a 5th and deciding game. The Marlins want to stay right here and celebrate in South Florida and not have to go to Pac Bell. Here's the 1-1 pitch. San Francisco pen is active. Air, the left-hander, starting to loosen. You know, Conine's return to Florida not only got a strong veteran presence back inside their clubhouse, also fine major league hitter when Mike Lowell was hurt, but they brought back an immensely popular player. He swings and drives that one to center, but Hammonds ranges over into the alley to make the catch. One down. We go to the studio. Here's Carl Ravitch.
Hi, Dave. Thank you very much. Roger Clemens has absolutely stifled the Minnesota Twins. Minnesota to Posada in the 7th with a chance to break it wide open, but they induced the fly out to Jones in right, so it stays 3-1. Then Clemens went 1-2-3, and now the Yankees are batting in the 8th.
Awfully close there. Tied here with one down in the 7th. Alex Gonzalez, he's gone 0 for 3. So Gonzalez between yesterday and today 0 for his last 7. Just 1 hit in the series. But he did hit 18 home runs during the season. And it's 330 down at left field line. Torrealba back to the netting, but it's over the top.
I think he just took his shot at trying to make it 19 right there. And you know, that's what the Marlin hitters have been doing here. They've been working the count, trying to get ahead, trying to get a ball that they could yank or they could pull down that left field line. That ball ran in. You see a top hand take over. Tells you he was trying to pull. But what a lot of guys have been doing after that is just kind of settling in and trying to work the ball up the middle.
1-1 pitch. Aurelia on the charge and the new dad over to first base for the out. We talked about his wife Raquel giving birth to the new baby boy. Went into labor during game 2 of the series. Raquel is just as much an athlete as her husband is. She's run in a couple of marathons. In fact, she's finished the Hawaii, the Honolulu, and the New York Marathon to help raise about $30,000 for the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
You know, there were agents lined up right outside that hospital when they walked out with that baby boy.
Brian Banks, the lefty pinch hitter, who hit .235 during the regular season with 4 home runs, came up with a couple of big home runs as well. Goes after the first pitch, and Snow underhands to get him. A quiet inning. 1-2-3 they go. Nothing quiet about the man coming up. Barry Bonds in a 5-5 tie when we return. Getting into nail-biting time now. 5-5 tie, the Giants and the Florida Marlins. If the Giants lose, they are done. They're trying to head back to Pac Bell in a 2-2 tie. Carl Pavano, right-hand starter for the Marlins, 6'5", 235 pounds. In 2 games, a 1-0 record, an inning and 2/3. He's allowed just 1 hit coming out of the pen here. He'll face Hammonds.
Really coming into this year, Carl Pavano was known as one of the guys traded for Pedro Martinez. 12 wins this year, a career high in that category. At 27 years of age, I don't know what he's got left as far as coming in today out of that bullpen, but he looks to really be turning the corner as far as a big league starter.
He goes to 2-0 on Hammonds. Aurelia on deck, and then Barry Bonds hitting 3rd in this inning. Routine pop-up into center. And Pierre coming on to make the catch. 1 down in the Giant 8th. Rodriguez, who really turned his season around after the All-Star break, getting ready in the pen for Felipe Alou. Bonds to bat right after Aurelia, who doubled his last time up. He drove in a run. He's gone 1 for 3. Tried to check, but it's in there for a strike anyway. 10 hits for the Marlins. The Giants have 6. But for San Francisco, 5 of those hits came in 1 inning. The only other inning they have a hit in was inning number 2. Kind of a meager wave and a miss there by Aurelia.
It's called bunching them together. When you can get them like that in the inning, usually you're going to put some runs on the board.
And you know, none of those hits by Barry Bonds. And you can only hold him down for so long. Pavano going to do everything he can to get this guy out, because Barry Bonds against Carl Pavano, 6 for 8, Tony, with 3 home runs.
What do you think the chances are? You got to see 4 pitches. Even if Aurelia does get on, he's going to probably see 4 pitches.
Now, he was walked twice intentionally yesterday. Has not been walked today. Bonds has popped up, lined out, and also driven in a run with a sacrifice.
Usually with 8 at bats, I don't put any stock into it, but when 6 for 8 with 3 dingers, there's something going on there. He's seeing it real well.
Of course, yesterday the Marlins intentionally walked him with nobody on in the 9th inning in a tie game.
If they get Aurelia out, I think the same thing's probably going to happen.
The 2-2. Swing and a miss. He missed it. And now, to complete the strikeout, Rodriguez will tag him out. So he is out. First base is wide open, and here comes Bonds.
You can take your elbow thing off, Bear. Alfonso, the on deck circle, 205, and that's after 39 at bats. There's a lot of history there, and mostly successful history for Carl Pavano.
Pudge got Barry giggling a little bit there.
Pudge probably told him, I know you want to hit in this situation, big fella, but you're going to first base.
Well, he was intentionally walked 61 times during the regular season. The Marlins, some of their starters, Redmond in particular, said before the series, he's just another hitter, not just another guy with a bat. But some of that bravado may be understandable. The young Marlins staff, very confident, very cocky at times, very talented.
Well, and I thought Jeff Conine said it best. I mean, what else do you say? I mean, you know, you don't say it trying to be overconfident or I mean, it's just we gotta try to get him out from time to time.
And they don't issue many intentional passes. We mentioned Bonds 61 times during the season. The Marlin staff, the entire staff, issued just 40 intentional walks. Here's Alfonso. Across for strike 1. He doubled high off the National League scoreboard, the Teal Tower, out there in left center field in the 6th inning. A gaudy .563 Division Series batting clip for the former Met.
I got to stay hard away.
I do too.
I'll try to keep him in the ballpark and do it out there. Oh.
Pavano got away with one.
I think Alfonso knew he got away with one. And we talked about this the other night when Pavano came in San Francisco, when they got out of the bases loaded jam, when the Giants took the lead 4-1. You know, sometimes Pavano's thing has been location. He's been elevating the ball, and this is a guy you cannot elevate to. You got to put this ball in a good spot.
One and two.
This is what makes this game so great to me, is that the game is tied. You're in the 8th inning. Just, it could be, you know, that much difference on a ball that could make the difference in the whole outcome of the game.
2-2. So very patient Edgardo Alfonso here.
And that's, you know, Edgardo Alfonso has been this way the whole series. He's been the one guy that has consistently stepped up there and delivered when the Giants needed the big hit.
Right to Gonzalez. A slight bobble, but in plenty of time to feed Castillo for the force play. So they pitch around Bonds. It works out. We're still tied going to the bottom of inning number 8 in Game 4. One of America's most recognized corporate images, the Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes, is floating overhead, providing our tremendous aerial views. The Goodyear blimps have been a familiar sight in the American skies since 1925. Thanks for the terrific pictures, gentlemen.
They got great snow tires, too. Oh, I heard you drop that line for Hallmark. You trying to get out of your Christmas cards.
Oh, man. And the Hallmark people have beautiful scented candles. And, oh, man, it really livens up a living room.
You know, the funny part is, I mean, we have to do that. Those guys send it to Tony anyway.
Yeah, Tony gets it all. Felix Rodriguez coming on in the division series. He's appeared in a couple of games, 4 strikeouts in 3 innings during the season, 8-2 in relief. But you go back to June 14th, he wasn't pitching all that well, but from that point on, Rick, a 178 earned run average, he was almost untouchable.
I think this is the guy that the Giants would want on the mound in this situation. Tony, that's also the guy Florida wants at home plate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to come down to now, you know, who wants it.
Juan Pierre 1 for 4 with a single in the 4th inning. After going hitless in Game 3, but scoring the winning run. That was after he took ball 4, key walk in the 11th inning. The Marlins winning Game 3. Swinging a high fly ball, lifted into left, but Bonds is there. He taps that thigh and makes the catch. 1 down in the bottom of the 8th. So they keep Pierre off the bases. That's huge for San Francisco.
They've done it 4 out of 5 times here this afternoon in this ball game by keeping him in the air. They're not throwing anything with any late downward movement. All good hard fastballs up, and he's not been able to get on top of it.
And that's how you do it. You go up the ladder on him. They're pitching him away and playing him away. And anytime he hits a ball in the air to left field, he's not gonna drive it off that what do you call it, the teal tower out there. He's not going to drive it off of that. And it's smart pitching by the Giants. And they've done a nice job here in the last 2 games keeping Pierre off the bases. But you know, this is a guy that's been on here in the last 2 days has been Castillo.
Well, it's doubly important then that they've done such a good job on Pierre, because
right.
Castillo today has been on base 3 times. He's walked twice and doubled. He had 3 hits yesterday. Pudge Rodriguez, the on-deck hitter. Marlins have Oogie Urbina going. He starts to get that right arm warmed up. The Marlin closer right now. 1-0 on Castillo. You go back to the 6th inning. The Marlins, even though they didn't have a hit, loaded up the bases with nobody out. When Castillo started that, he walked. Rodriguez walked. Derek Lee was hit by a pitch. And yet the Marlins didn't score. A strikeout and a double play grounder, and that was the end of that rally.
And I'm sure they're going to be kicking themselves. If they don't win this game today, that's the inning they're really going to be kicking themselves about. Bases loaded, nobody out. Couldn't score.
You take these back-to-back games, then you get on a plane and fly from Florida to California, and then you try to hit Jason Schmidt.
Straight back, a foul by Castillo.
The thing that surprised me was after the decision was made not to start him, I was wondering why Jason Schmidt was still here.
I agree.
Yeah, why not get on a plane, get back home, get some rest?
Nobody else is going to get any rest. I think he should be back there getting that rest. And you know, on the other hand, if I'm Josh Beckett, I'm not going anywhere, Tony.
Right.
If they're going to be on the field celebrating, drinking champagne, I'm going to be right in the middle of it.
Now, I totally agree.
In there for strike 3. Got him looking. Rodriguez pinned the fastball across the outside part of the plate.
You got to love the job Rodriguez has done here in both days. He's come in and done nothing but throw strikes.
Experience.
And that's, you're absolutely right, Rick. I mean, that's experience. You don't mind having Rodriguez throw a couple of innings for you, maybe Worrell throw a couple of innings for you.
General manager of the San Francisco Giants, Brian Sabean. He's not one of those guys you see front and center all the time on the front page of the newspaper, but quietly and behind the scenes, he's as good as it gets.
I wonder what he's thinking about right now. Sabean.
Pudge Rodriguez now against Felix Rodriguez.
Say a lot of the stuff that he's thought about has worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Not only putting all this together, but you know, at one time he was the New York Yankees scouting director back when Mariano Rivera and Jeter and Andy Pettitte were signed. So responsible for a lot of positive things in the game of baseball.
Down and away to Pudge Rodriguez. He doubled back in the third. 1 for 3 today. You talk about the experience of Felix Rodriguez in the playoff situation. Well, in the division series against Atlanta last year, he pitched in all 3 games. He allowed 1 hit and no runs. Against St. Louis in the league championship, he appeared in 4 games, a 193 earned run average, and he pitched in 6 of the 7 World Series games. Against Anaheim at 2-0. Outside.
That's the first time today Pudge was ahead of count, 2-0. And he had been taking a big hack. You know, maybe trying to go deep here. This time, game tied, 8th inning.
Do you green light it? What do you think?
If he's taking 2-0, I think he's taking 3-0.
Very hot bat on the batter's box, hitting .313 for the series. He is taking all the way. 3-1. The Marlins a little more pensive than they were when they had a 5-1 lead at the end of 4 innings. Hard hit deep short, through for a base hit. Certainly going on 3-1, and he collects his 2nd hit of the day. That coming with 2 down, and the Marlins have the go-ahead run on at first.
Just waited him out. Finally got what he was looking for, something middle in. If that didn't have a little sink right at the end of it, you think this crowd's loud now? They would have all been standing.
And it also showed the importance of getting Pierre and Castillo out.
Yeah.
Derek Lee now hit by a pitch his last time up, walked the at bat before that, and singled before that, so he's been on base 3 times. Rodriguez has always run well for a catcher. He scoots back in. A 5-5 tie with 2 down in the bottom of the 8th inning in Florida. Ball 1. Now granted, it's a brief playoff history for the Marlins, but it's also a thrilling one. Florida now 13-6 all time in the postseason, which they won the '97 World Series with a classic extra inning Game 7 victory over Cleveland. During that postseason in the NLCS, they also had Livan Hernandez strike out 15 Braves in a game in this ballpark.
I think that's where Questek started.
The birth of Questek, you think so?
You remember the strike zone of home plate umpire Eric Gregg that day?
The '97 postseason saw them claim the franchise's first world title, beating the Indians in 7 games. Edgar Renteria chasing in Craig Counsell
I mean, anytime you win it like that, it's exciting and you have to give credit. But that team was basically bought. I mean, they went out and they just outspent everybody else. To me, this team's a lot more exciting. 6 years later, I mean, they've developed people. They continue to develop. All of the questions surrounding this team when the season started and then during the season and what have you. They're good, Tony. They're young, and they want to get better, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And you know, the young players on this team are impressive young guys. Cabrera, Pierre, Lee, Castillo, Gonzalez.
Hit him again. Lee gets drilled for the second time. That's going to push Pudge Rodriguez down into scoring position with 2 down. Let's quickly go to Carl Ravitch in the studio.
Hi, Dave. Let's update you on that Yankee game against the Twins. Minnesota's offense nilled today. In the 9th, Bernie strikes out. Mariano came on in the 8th. He's already got 1 out in the 9th. Twins got 2 outs left.
This one dead even at 5-5. 2 down in the 8th inning, but trouble brewing for Felix Rodriguez and the San Francisco Giants. For the second time, Derek Lee has been hit by a pitch. 2 on here.
It hurts a lot right now, but Cabrera picks up a base hit. It'd be worth it.
Cabrera 3 for 4. His last at bat, he had a horrible at bat. He struck out.
Well, he's got to make an adjustment, Dave, because all Hurt just did was throw fastballs on the outer half of the plate.
Line drive to right, base hit. Rodriguez rounding third. Cruz throwing home. It comes through. He's safe. He scores. Here comes another run. Lee trying to score. He's in, standing up. They forgot all about him. 2 runs home, 7-5, Florida. The Florida Marlins may be on their way to another appearance in the National League Championship Series.
Everything's perfect. The adjustment you talked about, Rick, he made it. Inside outs the ball to right field. Cruz does everything right. He comes up, makes a perfect 1 hop, short hopped him, and Torrealba couldn't hold it.
And who is right in the middle of the play? Pudge Rodriguez.
And then great base running again. Lee scores.
And Cabrera goes all the way to third.
This ball kind of bounced up at the end, but it's still a good enough throw. If he holds on to it, he's out.
This may be the picture of this series right here.
He knocked it out with his left hand.
But then Lee just kept on coming. He scored all the way from first base on a base hit to right field. They forgot about him. They did not recover in time. They didn't see him coming.
He bounces off. He makes a good turn coming around third. He knows it's going to be close.
Just threw that left shoulder and forearm out into the glove, knocking the ball loose. And again, more aggressive base running adds to that cushion.
A 2-out, 2-run hit by Cabrera. And the Marlins lead it 7-5 in the bottom of the 8th of Game 4. And once again, the Giants had a chance with a defensive play to kill a Marlin rally. Cruz made a decent throw, though it did skip twice.
Yeah, it did.
But it's the Marlins who make the key play, and not San Francisco. Line drive, but foul, and that almost got Cabrera, who has 4 hits today. Cruz, of course, dropping a ball, a key play. The 11th inning last night. Torrealba can't hang on in the series. 7 errors now for San Francisco. Santiago resting today. He may be able to rest all winter. Fly to center, and Hammond's coming in on it. Out goes Aurelia, and he's got it. The Florida Marlins on the bat of one of their young kids, Miguel Cabrera, a 2-run single. They have taken the lead. We go to the 9th in game 3 more outs to get. The Florida Marlins can win the series by closing it out here in the top of the 9th. They have a 7-5 lead over the heavily favored San Francisco Giants. Uget Urbina is coming on to pitch, but this young man, 21 years old from Venezuela, has come up with a giant day against the San Francisco Giants. Pudge Rodriguez once again scoring the go-ahead run on this play, knocking the ball out of the grip of Yorvit Torrealba and scoring that run.
What more can you do?
He's done it all.
4 RBIs last night. He's done a terrific job handling the staff. And back in the top of the 6th inning, after the Giants had scored 4 runs to tie it, he picked off a runner.
A.P. Perez taking a strike from Urbina. 7 runs on 12 hits for the Marlins. 5 runs on 6 hits and 2 more errors for the error-prone Giants in the division series. 1-1.
You'll see a lot of changeups out of Urbina to left-handed hitters. Probably a better pitch than his slider is to the right-handers.
Line drive down the line, and that's going to be right on top of the Chalk Affair ball. It bounces up against the fence, and he's into second. Perez coming off the bench with a double. Well, the Giants have done it once already today. A 4-run rally in the 6th. They're at it again.
Well, people talked all year long that the Giants had the best bench in the National League. They're proving it here again this afternoon. You've got Galarraga to come off the bench. You've got Feliz. You've got Torrealba. We've seen him play outstanding defense today.
Benito Santiago has grabbed a bat, and a one-time Florida Marlin is starting to loosen up.
The Giants aren't going to go down without a fight. Perez to get the inning started.
Base hit right field. Perez into third. They're going to wave him in. It dies out there on the grass. Encarnacion lobs towards second. And this is a 1-run game in the 9th. J.T. Snow comes up with his 3rd hit today. And it is 7-6. And nobody out.
It took all of 3 pitches.
There have been so many things in this series that you just didn't expect. There's Urbina. That's why he was brought over here, to settle down that closing situation. Looper struggled. He came in. They thought they had their guy. Well, they may be getting somebody else up down there in that bullpen as well.
3 hits, a couple of RBIs for J.T. Snow. Looper not warming up. He was the closer most of the season, but faltered down the stretch. Got tired, I think, without question, with all those appearances. Here's Pedro Feliz. Good power as he swings and foul, tips it for a strike. He's batting in the 8th spot for Torrealba.
You're not playing to get that runner in scoring position. He took a whack. He didn't show no signs of bunting him over in the scoring position.
And I think that's because of their bullpen being so depleted, Tony. And I don't think it's a bad idea either. You got to try to take the lead right now and let Worrell come out and pitch 1 inning to try to save it, rather than tying it. I mean, you tie it. They've got so many more arms down there in the Florida pen than what really Felipe Alou wants to use out of the Giants.
Well, yesterday in this situation, Feliz, when the Giants were down 2-1, he was looking for a ball that he could pull, and he finally got it with 2 strikes. Urbina's gone away from him here the first 2 pitches.
The 0-2 just outside.
And another thing, J.T. Snell's not even messing around at first base. When that pitch crosses home plate, he's He's sprinting back to first base.
Gary Cederson's going to tell Urbina to tuck his uniform in.
Snow has already been picked off over there at first base once today. That was back in the 6th inning. Urbina's 1-2. Waved down and missed. He struck him out. One away in the 9th.
Tony, we talked about adjustments with Cabrera and how he looked foolish on one at bat and he changed it the next one. I mean, you got to make some kind of an adjustment during this at bat, or you look like that on all 3 pitches.
Well, he took his shot. He was looking for a ball inside, but he never got it. Ended up having to swing at something that you're really not looking for.
And that'll bring up Benito Santiago, who a decade ago crouched behind home plate in this very ballpark. And the very first pitch thrown in Marlins history, which was a strike from Charlie Huff, 1993, was caught by Benito Santiago. He was their very first catcher. And he also blasted the first franchise home run for the Marlins. And how about this? It was on the road in San Francisco.
They'd like to see nothing more than him do it again and blast one.
I just think the last couple of years, Benito has been one of the best stories in baseball.
I agree. He's a lot more patient now than he was when he first came up.
He's become baseball's Lazarus with this comeback of his. He takes a strike.
He used to swing at that pitch and hit you the nicest ground ball to short. He sees it now. He's matured. He's more of a complete player and hitter.
A run in for the Giants. It is 7-6 in the 9th. That's down low. A man on at first as the Marlins look for a double play ball to end it and send them to their second NLCS. When they went in 1997, it was after sweeping the Giants in the division series. And the Marlins would go on to win the whole thing. 1-2. A vicious swing from Santiago.
Big cut here.
That's what you want, isn't it?
And that, you know what? That was a good pitch to do it on, too.
There's some clubhouse kids going crazy right now for the Florida Marlins. Tony, they don't know whether to push the champagne out or to load the suitcases into the truck to go to the airport to Frisco. And I wouldn't know what to tell them right now.
65,464 here. Little bloop shot into right. Encarnacion there. 2 down.
Oh, boy.
1 out away.
When you get this many people to show up, you know it's something special. And this really has been a special series. And what an effort by Jack McKeon and the Florida Marlins.
It's not done yet. Ray Durham climbs in. 2 down. The Florida Marlins on the verge of an upset. For the Giants, despite 100 regular season wins and a dominating 15.5 game first place finish to win the West, they have come to the brink of elimination in round 1. It's bedlam here. And the count is 2-0.
See, Urbina knows he can't afford to make a mistake in right here. He's been pitching all these right-handed hitters away. And that's in the Durham. If you make a mistake to him, a good chance he could go deep.
That one behind him and may have hit him. And I think it did. It got him. He's been hit by the pitch. On 2-0, he gets hit in the back. And Durham takes first base. First and second, 2 down.
Jack McKeon's wondering what in the world was that? How do you let a ball get away from you? Oh my.
That's just hanging on to it too long right there.
And you know what causes that?
Yeah, I know.
So now you've got the tying run in scoring position for San Francisco. That's JT Snow. If he scores, we are dead even. Again.
Nothing surprises me now.
Man, oh man. Some of the Marlins can hardly bear to watch.
The emotions for both sides.
I thought he was in pretty good shape till I saw that last pitch. I mean, there's nerves involved when you miss by that much. You can't let it go.
Hammond's 1 for 4. Bloop shot into left. Here comes Conine. He can't get it. He's throwing home. Snow trying to score. The tag. A collision. He is out at home. And the Florida Marlins have cut down the Giants. The upset of the 2003 postseason. What a way to end it. On a collision at the plate. Pudge Rodriguez hangs on. And the surprise team of the regular season has become the giant killer of the playoffs.
Pudge, you deserve that baseball, brother. Take it home with you and put it right next to that MVP trophy you got.
He deserves a whole lot more than a baseball. I mean, he's the reason why. You talk about sticking your nose right in there, knowing you're going to get pummeled. Get pummeled and hold on to it. I mean, what a series. You got to give the Giants a lot of credit for battling back when it just looked like there was no way they could win this game.
Hammonds with a base hit.
The Division Series on Fox, brought to you by Sprint, proudly offering picture mail and PCS Vision picture phones. By Allstate, you're in good hands with Allstate. By Tums. Tums knocks out heartburn fast and gives you the calcium your body needs. And by Gillette Mach 3 Turbo for the closest shave with less irritation, even against the grain. Well, they had a lengthy rain delay before they got started here last night, but most of those clouds and the wet stuff is blown out of here. And it is a gorgeous late Saturday afternoon here at Wrigley Field in Chicago. And before we get this one underway, news from the other National League Division Series. Let's go to Jeannie Zalasko in Los Angeles.
That's right. We're going right to Florida. Jeffrey Hammonds with the shot to left. And apparently J.T. Snow not prepared for this one. Gets a bad jump. Jeff Conine with the throw. And it's a snowball fight in Florida because Pudge Rodriguez is not going to let go of the game ball that sends the Marlins into the National League Championship Series. The Giants' reign of their championship is over. 7-6 the final. The shocker in South Florida. The Marlins are moving on.